You're really willing to spend that much, Muzai said seriously while driving. Mainly, Wanzi is also a member of our family, right? Oh yes, yes, yes. Mu Baining simply gave up. She leaned back in her chair with a relaxed air, stretched and yawned. I'm a little sleepy. Then, Muzai was about to say, then let's take a nap. But after a few more turns, we'll reach our new home. Why don't you go upstairs and sleep there? Anyway, the bedding and everything are already prepared. There's not much luggage left at school. Ask Liu Weiwei to help carry it, and I can bring it over myself. Liu Weiwei, are you being polite? Mu Baining shook her head. No, I'll accompany you myself, he. As she spoke, Mu Baining tried to lean her cheek against Mu Ziomo's shoulder. But fearing it would delay his driving, Mu Baining ultimately gave up the idea. 2 minutes later, the car drove directly into Shanghai No. 1 courtyard. A few days ago, Mu Baining had already helped Mu Ziomo change her license plate. The new license plate is Magic, a 99,999. That's right, it's the leopard. According to Mu Baining, her grandfather used this license plate number. After his car was scrapped, he kept the license plate number. So when Mu Ziomo got his new car, he just gave him this license plate number. Of course, it's impossible for Mu Ziomo not to like such a nice license plate number. When the security guard at Shanghai No. 1 courtyard saw an Audi drive up with the license plate number, Chinese letter, a 99,999, he immediately stood up and bowed to Mu Ziomo's car. Both the car model and the license plate number are symbols of wealth. It fits the persona of a wealthy family in Shanghai's No. 1 courtyard. The last system entry was for Mu Baining's car. The license plate information for this car has not yet been entered. So now this car can't get into the residential area at all. If you bring 2 cars, you'll need to buy a parking space in the community. Hello, are you a resident here? The security guard spoke up, and Mu Ziomo nodded in response. Yes, this car is brand new and can't be driven into the community yet. We're moving in today. Could you please open the gate for us? Sure, the security guard nodded. However, we need to verify your identity as the homeowner. Okay. Soon, the security guard brought out a device that looked like a mobile phone. Then, after scanning Mu Ziomo's face, Mu Ziomo's information immediately appeared on the screen. Hello, welcome home, Mr. Mu. Please feel free to contact the property management if you need anything. Thank you. The railing was raised, and Mu Ziomo drove the car in directly. Without the slightest hesitation, Mu Ziomo drove directly to building number 2. The neighborhood was still relatively clean at that time. At least there were no elderly women parking their tricycles haphazardly, and the passageways in the community were exceptionally clean. After parking the car, Mu Ziomo and Mu Baining started moving things together. Because she was pregnant, Mu Ziomo didn't really want Mu Baining to do it. But Mu Baining is quite stubborn. The more you forbid her from doing something, the more she'll do it. Helpless, Mu Ziomo could only tell her to slow down. After moving most of their belongings to the elevator, Mu Ziomo looked Mu Baining up and down and asked, Ning Ning, do you remember which floor our house is on? Upon hearing this, Mu Baining rolled her eyes at him. Am I really that stupid? I can't possibly not even know which floor my own apartment is on. Of course I remember, it's on the 15th floor. Oh, I thought you'd forgotten. Mu Ziomo chuckled. It seems Ning Ning isn't so naive after all. Snort. Mu Baining pouted and gently punched his chest with her pink little fist. Just then, the elevator arrived. The elevator doors slowly opened. At the same time, the person inside the elevator saw Mu Ziomo and his eyes lit up. He exclaimed, Holy crap, Godfather. Mu Ziomo. Chapter 237, Godfather. Godson. Upon hearing the sound, Mu Ziomo froze. Looking up, I saw a very ugly fat man with glasses and a shiny bald head. A typical high-quality man. With a twitch at the corner of her mouth, Mu Ziomo couldn't help but say, Who are you? I'm your godfather. Calling him godson in front of his wife is an insult to him. At this moment, Mu Ziomo was already prepared to teach him a lesson. This fat guy has a face full of question marks. This guy seems to really not recognize himself. That makes sense, though. He's been abroad for several years now, and lately he's dressed like a high-class man, so it's perfectly normal not to recognize him. The fat man laughed and said, You little rascal, you really are old Mu's son. Mu Ziomo, you and your dad are just like each other. Hearing his words, Mu Ziomo was stunned. Wow, he actually knew his name. Who is this? Mu Ziomo frowned as he looked at the fat man in front of him, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't remember who he was. That's outrageous. Looking at Omo's expression, the fat man laughed and said, "It's normal that you don't recognize me. I'm your dad's classmate, Wang Beichuan. When you were 5 years old, I often played with you. Do you remember how many times you slapped me and left my back covered in handprints?" Om only remembered after hearing the name Wang Beichuan. I think I have a vague memory of this person. At the same time, Omo's face darkened. She didn't know what her father was thinking, making his 3 college roommates his godfathers. Is this really a good idea? Little did she know, 20 years later, Mu Yuning thought the same thing. It's Uncle Wang. Omo did not want to admit that he was his godfather. Seeing that Omo called him uncle, Wang Beichuan didn't let him continue calling him godfather. This was mainly because Omo used to call him godfather so enthusiastically when they were little. He asked, "What's wrong with you?" "Oh, I bought a house here and plan to move in." He turned to look at Mu Baining and introduced her. "By the way, this is my fiancée, Ningning. Ningning, this is Dad's classmate. You can call him Uncle Wang." "Hello, Uncle," Mu Baining said very respectfully. Upon seeing Mu Baining, Wang Beichuan nodded with satisfaction. Not bad, not bad. Your girlfriend is so beautiful." Then he frowned and asked, "Wait a minute, you're only 19, not even 20 yet, right? What's going on? You should be in the second semester of your freshman year, not living on campus." I think my dad lived with my mom back then, right?" Wang Beichuan nodded. What he said was true. Young people are indeed full of youthful vigor. Mu Omo then asked, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I just got back from abroad. I'm here today to visit a client." "Which floor did you buy?" 15th floor. After exchanging pleasantries, Wang Beichuan said he had something to do and left. However, I left him my phone number and told him that he could contact me if he needed anything in the future. Of course, Mu Omo didn't take this to heart, but sometimes you have to admit the world is really damn small. You can run into acquaintances here. After going upstairs, Mu Omo and Mu Baining began packing their things. Then I went back to school to pack up Wanzi and Mu Baining's other luggage. It was busy until noon before we were almost finished cleaning up. Mu Baining put all their clothes in the closet. Of course, Mu Omo also caught a glimpse of some black stockings and such. However, Mu Baining is currently pregnant and cannot do that. If you want to do it, you should wait until the 4th to 7th month of pregnancy. Anyway, I can still control myself for now, but the frequency of being with the girl with 5 fingers will increase. "Ningning, what do you want for lunch?" "Your darling will make it for you herself, Tilda." After a busy morning, we finally finished. It's impossible for the two of us not to be hungry. Since Mu Baining became pregnant, her appetite has become a little poor. Mu Baining said, "I'll just eat something light. I was a little tired just now, so I don't have much of an appetite. How about I just make a simple fruit salad and pair it with some yogurt?" Mu Baining nodded heavily. "Okay, and we can keep it simple for dinner. I'm craving your noodles again." Mu Omo nodded. "Okay, then I'll make you a different kind of noodles tonight." "Hee love." Mu Baining stretched out her hand and made a big heart shape for Mu Omo. Then Mu Omo said, "All right, it's time. Ningning, you should go sit on the sofa and watch some TV. Just let me know if you need anything, okay?" Hey. Upon hearing Mu Omo's words, Mu Baining obediently went to the television. I obediently started watching TV. Of course, the inside of the TV is some reality shows. Mu Baining has loved these things since she was a child. As for Mu Omo, she naturally prepared a fruit salad for her. Meanwhile, on the other side, inside dormitory 448, at Shanghai University of Science and Technology, Huang Wengsu is playing a game with Bai Yuntao. That's right, it was because Mu Omo's departure made them a little sad, so the two of them chose to play games to pass the time. Just then, Huang Wengsu's cell phone, which was on the table, rang. He didn't even look at who was calling, just picked up the phone and answered. "Hey, who is it?" "Don't bother me, I'm playing a game right now. I'll call you back later, Tilda." Immediately afterwards, a scolding voice came from the phone. "You little brat, didn't you tell me you were studying? Why are you playing games again?" Huang Wengsu almost dropped his phone when he was yelled at, because the voice on the other end was his father's. Huang Wengsu just asked his father for 5,000 yuan for living expenses, and then said that he is currently studying hard in the library. Unexpectedly, his father called. Huang Wengsu quickly explained, Dad, I was just tired from studying, so I played some games to relax. What did you want to see me about this time?" "HMPH, you might fool others, but do you think you can fool me?" Huang Awang took a deep breath and said, "All right, I don't expect you to study anymore. Just bring me a girlfriend from university, and then you can just honestly inherit my company. Hee hee, Dad, I've been waiting for you to say that. Huang Wenxu was overjoyed. Inheriting his father's company was such a wonderful thing. By the way, Dad, what exactly did you want to see me about this time? Upon hearing this, Huang Awang said, Didn't you want that Lamborghini Gallardo? I fixed it a few days ago, repainted it, and delivered it to you on a handcart. It will arrive at 2 p.m. today. Remember to sign for it. Really, Dad, I love you. P.S. Wow, this is so sad. I need a gift to cheer me up. Also, I'm planning to write a supernatural novel in my new book. I'm switching things up. Chapter 238, Upgrading a Car. All right, stop with the love stuff. Don't forget to pick up the car at 2 p.m., okay? I know. Huang Wenxu chuckled, chatted with his father for a few more minutes, and then quickly hung up the phone. Meanwhile, seeing Huang Wenxu's happy expression, Bai Yuntao asked, So, Brother Huang, is your Lamborghini Gallardo coming over yet? Ah, yes. Huang Wenxu nodded. It was delivered at 2 p.m. It's the weekend today, so I have to go out and flirt with some girls. Blanche. Upon hearing Huang Wenxu's words, Bai Yuntao revealed an envious expression. Du Yang, Huang Wenxu, and Mu Omo all have cars now, so he's the only one without one. Huang Wenxu and Du Yang rely on their parents, while Mu Omo is a freeloader. I need to work hard and build a car on my own. Having a girlfriend makes it easier to go out and also gives you prestige. Thinking of this, Bai Yuntao's heart was already burning with fighting spirit. Honey, the fruit salad is ready, Tilda, and there's also your favorite dragon fruit yogurt. In the living room, Mu Baining was lounging on the sofa, watching an idle drama. Upon hearing Mu Ziomo's voice, Mu Baining's eyes lit up. She quickly sat up straight and stared longingly at Mu Ziomo. At the same time, Mu Ziomo handed her a large spoon. Eating some fruit at this time is indeed very appropriate. Mu Baining first scooped out a piece of mango and put it into her mouth without hesitation. Seeing Mu Baining's happy expression, Mu Ziomo chuckled. He asked, All right, Ningning, no one's going to take it from you at home, eat slowly. Hee, come on, darling, you should have some. As she spoke, Mu Baining scooped out a grape with a spoon. Then he raised his arm and stretched it out towards Mu Ziomo. Seeing this, Mu Ziomo bent down slightly and ate the yogurt and grapes from the spoon. Seeing Mu Baining's smiling face, Mu Ziomo chuckled. It's delicious, but I'd rather eat the imported kind. Imported? Mu Baining asked, somewhat puzzled. Is this import legitimate? Mu Baining, what do you mean imported? Yes, that's it. Mu Ziomo used another spoon to put a yellow peach into her mouth. Then, taking advantage of Mu Baining's inattention, he quickly sat down next to her. And then he kissed her on the lips. At the same time, he put the yellow peach in his mouth into Mu Baining's mouth. That's right, this is what you call importing. Mu Ziomo's actions were exactly what Mu Baining expected. Eating this imported food made her pretty face blush. HMPH, you're so annoying, Momo. Although she said that, she was secretly delighted. At the same time, Mu Ziomo said, Imported things are more nutritious. Okay, you can continue watching TV. I'll go pack some things. Tilda. Mu Baining nodded. Mu Ziomo then started tidying up his new home. After finishing the fruit salad, Mu Baining followed Mu Ziomo in doing a thorough cleaning of the house. Although it's a new home, there's a layer of dust on the floor. By the time everything was finished, it was already 3 p.m. Both of them were exhausted. Mu Ziomo lay weakly on the sofa when her phone rang. It was none other than Huang Wenxu, Huang Dare. Upon seeing that it was Huang Wenxu, Mu Ziomo answered the call without hesitation. At the same time, the call was connected. Hey, what's up, Lao Huang? What do you need me for? Huang Wenxu said, Hey Mo, I have some good news for you. Tomorrow our school's car enthusiasts are having a get-together. All owners of performance cars will be attending. Are you interested? A social event for performance cars. What is this thing? Mu Ziomo said, I'm not interested in this. I'm already a professor at the Magic University, so I won't participate. No. Huang Wenxu said, My Lamborghini Gallardo arrived today. Your car accelerates pretty well too. Let's go have some fun tomorrow. Let's go for a spin on the track together, hee. Wouldn't that be awesome? To be honest, Huang Wenxu's words made Mu Ziomo waver a little. He really wanted to get on the track and experience the speed and excitement. Just then, the system's voice suddenly appeared. Ding, congratulations to the host for activating the trigger selection mode. Option 1, agree to Huang Wenxu's invitation to the social event and receive 3 opportunities to upgrade to an Audi RS e-tron GT. Option 2, reject Huang Wengsu, let him doubt your family status. Become a cowardly henpecked husband in his eyes, and become the laughing stock of the dormitory. It's always like this. The system has completely blocked the road. Mu Omo rolled her eyes because Mu Baining was right next to him, and she had also heard Huang Wengsu's words. Turning to look at Mu Baining smiled and said, "Why are you looking at me? Go have fun if you want, but be sure to drive slowly." Hey. Mu Omo was overjoyed. She truly was his wife. How understanding. Then Mu Omo said, "Okay, I'll go then. Where shall we meet tomorrow?" "Meet me at the entrance of Magic Science University tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, hee. See you tomorrow, Moji. I'm going to flirt with some girls." After saying that, Huang Wengsu hung up the phone. Mu Omo was speechless. This guy, now that he has Lamborghini Gallardo, he's off flirting with girls. With his low emotional intelligence, I wonder if he can even win over a girl. Mu Omo turned to Mu Baining. "Ning, I'm a little tired. I'm going to lie down in the bedroom for a while. I'll get up and cook for you later." "Okay, you go ahead. I'll watch some TV, Tilda." Mu Omo quickly entered the bedroom. Of course, Mu Omo didn't go back to her bedroom to rest. Instead, let's look at the upgrades the system just mentioned for the Audi RS e-tron GT. He said he had no idea how to upgrade. Lying in bed, he brought up the system interface. Once the system interface is opened, the Audi RS e-tron GT interface is displayed directly. There is also an upgrade button which says, 3 upgrade attempts remaining. Upgrade. Mu Omo chose to upgrade directly. Ding, upgrade successful. Current car status is as follows. Car name, Audi RS e-tron GT, beginner level. Battery range, 2,000 kilometers. 0-100 km/h acceleration time, 3 seconds. Tire grip increased by 50%. This car requires no maintenance whatsoever. Well, seeing the numbers above, Mu Omo was completely dumbfounded. Battery range of 2,000 kilometers, 0-100 km/h acceleration in 3 seconds. This data is outrageous. Meanwhile, the system's voice continued to play. The host can choose to continue upgrading. After upgrading, the vehicle's attributes will be even stronger. Upgrade. Chapter 239. There are quite a few rich kids in this school. Ding, upgrade successful. Current car status is as follows. Car name Audi RS e-tron GT midsize. Battery range 5,000 kilometers. 0-100 km/h acceleration time, 2.5 seconds. Tire grip increased by 200%. This vehicle requires no maintenance forever. Vehicle safety increased by 300%. This vehicle is incredibly sturdy, and a rollover will not cause any injury to the occupants. Upon seeing the numbers, Mu Omo was extremely surprised. This is outrageous. Continue upgrading. Ding, upgrade successful. Current car status is as follows. Car name Audi RS e-tron GT top of the line. Battery range, unlimited battery life. 0-100 km/h acceleration time, 1.9 seconds. Tire grip increased by 500%. This vehicle requires no maintenance permanently. Vehicle safety increased by 1,000%. This vehicle is incredibly sturdy and indestructible. Rollovers will not cause any harm to the occupants, and the host can trigger the God-level driving skill effect while driving this vehicle. Awesome! Mu Omo took a deep breath. She had to admit this car was truly awesome. Unlimited battery life means you don't need to charge it. Moreover, the 0-100 km/h acceleration time has been reduced to 1.9 seconds. The vehicle body cannot be damaged, triggering God-level driving skills. Wow, that's awesome. If he were on the racetrack, would anyone be his rival? That can't be right. This is outrageous. This is outrageous. He shut down the system, calmed himself down, and suddenly felt a little sleepy. I'll take a nap. Just a little while. The next day, at 8 o'clock, Mu Omo opened her eyes. Mu Baining was still fast asleep, and his movements were not large enough to wake her up. After a quick wash, Mu Omo made a simple breakfast for Mu Baining. Sandwich with fried egg and milk. I ate something quickly, and it was already 8:30. Back in the bedroom, seeing that Mu Baining was still fast asleep, Mu Omo couldn't help but go over and kiss her cheek. Then he said, "Ning, wake up. The sun's already high in the sky." Upon hearing Mu Omo's voice, Mu Baining hummed in response and then slowly opened her eyes. Upon seeing that it was Mu Omo, she said sleepily, It's Momo. What time is it?" "It's already 8:30. Huang Wengsu asked me to go out, so I went first. Breakfast is ready for you. It's on the table. You can eat it as soon as you get up, Tilda. Okay, be careful on the road. Rest assured. Soon, Omo took the elevator downstairs. Since he upgraded his car yesterday, he wanted to see what changes had been made. When he arrived at the parking lot, he saw the car from afar. The car's exterior remains unchanged. It still has 4 wheels, but the paint is shinier, as if it had just been washed. I knocked on the car, and the sound changed slightly. The material seemed to have turned into carbon fiber. Only when you put your eyes close to it could you vaguely see the texture of the carbon fiber. The car has indeed been upgraded. Omo quickly entered the driver's seat. There were no obvious changes inside, except that the seatbelt had inexplicably turned red. After starting the car, it remained as quiet as ever, but the remaining driving range had increased to plus infinity. That's right, it's plus infinity. Moreover, the speed limit has been raised to an astonishing 500 km/h. That's terrifying. Several driving modes also appeared in the car's infotainment system. One of the most notable features is the S-Beast mode, which activates the car's wild performance. As you can see, with the S-Beast mode activated, this car can accelerate from 0 to 100 km/h in just 1.9 seconds. It is 0.1 seconds faster than the Kawasaki H2R. With that speed and superb driving skills, it might be possible to handle it. Without much thought, he shifted into drive and gently pressed the accelerator. It was accompanied by a sound wave that felt like an electronic pulse. He couldn't have accelerated to 100 km/h in the underground parking garage, so he quickly drove the car outside. There was a lot of traffic here on the weekend, so it took more than 20 minutes for the car to arrive at the gate of the Magic University. At this moment, luxury cars and performance cars were parked one after another at the entrance of Magic Science University. They have things like the Japanese supercar GTR and Nissan Maxim. Of course, Porsche also has that. There are also some performance cars, such as the M5 and RS5. There are even some models like the Tesla Model 3. There are also some less popular cars, such as Lotus and Corvette. Of course, there are also many very beautiful young ladies here. There were so many students watching. After all, they were all driving luxury cars. Brother Mo over here. Because he had rolled down his car window, Omo heard Huang Wengsu's voice as he passed the Lamborghini convoy. He was sitting on the hood of the Gallardo at that moment. However, this Gallardo has clearly been upgraded by him. The exterior is covered in an orange car wrap, and the headlights and interior have been modified. After parking the car, Omo got out. Not bad, you've done a good job modifying that Lamborghini. Hee, Huang Wengsu chuckled. Don't let my old car fool you, it still has a 5.2L naturally aspirated engine. My dad refurbished and repaired it after it was delivered and even flashed a Stage 2 ECU tune. This car can accelerate from 0 to 100 km/h in just 3 seconds. It's much faster than your car. Awesome. Omo gave him a thumbs up, completely unconcerned about the car's acceleration. He asked, so, did you manage to get a date with your sister yesterday? Of course. Huang Wengsu nodded. Don't even mention Brother Mo. I drove around Shanghai and guess how many people added me on WeChat. How much? Omo asked, frowning. He held up 5 fingers. 5. Huang Wengsu nodded. Yes, 5. I was out for an hour and 5 girls added me on WeChat, and they all had great figures. As he spoke, Huang Wengsu's saliva was practically dripping from his mouth. It's like he hasn't seen a woman in 200 years. Torture, Omo said. Since you're not planning to marry them anyway, just chat for now. Drive your Lamborghini and take them to a nice restaurant, have some drinks, then head straight to the hotel, hee. Goodness, Huang Wengsu raised an eyebrow at Omo. Brother Mo, it seems you've done quite a bit of this. Fart. Omo rolled her eyes. I was just giving you some advice, okay? Stop talking nonsense. This social event is pretty good. There are so many cuckolds here. Omo took a quick look and noticed that there were indeed many sports cars here. If all the cars here belong to students of Magic University. Wow, there are quite a few rich kids at this school. Chapter 240, what do you think of that younger sister? Yes. Huang Wengsu took a deep breath and then said, our school actually has many children from wealthy families, but they are all very low-key. Of course, this is normal, considering it is a science and engineering university. Yes, after a quick glance, Omo was not envious of these rich and powerful people. In his eyes now, none of these cars are any good. In terms of speed, They are definitely no match for him. Mu Xiaomo then asked, "So what are we going to do later?" Huang Wenxu said with a smile, "Of course we're going to the racetrack. Young Master Wang is hosting a race today and he has a venue there. The purpose of this social gathering is to go to the racetrack." Good heavens! Mu Xiaomo immediately became interested upon hearing about going to the racetrack. The car was just upgraded yesterday and it's already on the track today. That's really impressive. Ding, host is detected to be going to the track. Your Audi RS e-tron GT has been upgraded to a 4-point seat belt and a top-of-the-line helmet is included. Wearing a helmet is required for track use. Upon hearing the system's voice, Mu Xiaomo took a deep breath. Goodness, 4 points are seat belts, top-of-the-line helmet. That's awesome. He asked, with so many cars today, are they all going to the track? That's right, Huang Wenxu said with a grin. I feel like 80% of people will bet on it. After all, the speed of these bulls and ponies goes without saying. Of course, the venue is very large with 8 cars running at the same time in one round, so the safety is relatively high. If something happens on the track, the losses can be substantial. What are you thinking, Brother Mo? This isn't F1. Besides, winning first place only comes with some nominal rewards. It's okay, it's okay. Just then, Huang Wenxu's expression changed, as if he suddenly remembered something. He said, by the way, there's a McLaren racing team at our school. They're all top-tier rich kids, so they might look down on you. Just ignore them. Mu Xiaomo didn't take it seriously at all. He glanced ahead and indeed, there was an orange McLaren P1. The McLaren P1 cost over 10 million yuan when it was new. It had a 3.8T V8 engine and an electric motor with a maximum power of 542 kW. It can accelerate from 0 to 100 km/h in just 2.8 seconds. This speed is among the best in sports cars. Of course, he didn't see any particularly outrageous Bugattis or anything like that. That thing is extremely rare. After waiting for a while, Huang Wenxu checked his phone and said, Brother Mo, you haven't joined the group yet, have you? Young Master Wang has already said in the group that we're going to the track now. I'll add you to the group. Soon, Huang Wenxu added Mu Xiaomo to a group called Magic Science University Luxury Car Friendship Group. Mu Xiaomo was taken aback. Luxury car dating group. That's absolutely outrageous. Once inside, a boy named Prince said, Classmates, our destination is track number 9. Follow the cars behind you and don't get lost. Mu Xiaomo frowned slightly. He had heard of the number 9 racetrack in Shanghai. That's a professional racetrack with a 5-kilometer straight track and lots of curves. It's a popular spot for performance car owners. Then the prince sent another message. You can form teams freely, with 3 cars per team. The team prizes are very generous. Please form your team and complete the task within half an hour of arriving at track 9. Mu Xiaomo was taken aback. Good grief, we need to team up. Of course, Mu Xiaomo felt that. The only people willing to team up with him were probably Audi S and RS owners. After all, people who drive Lamborghinis and Porsches definitely look down on people who drive Audis. This is reality. Huang Wenxu had already boarded the bus by then. Mu Xiaomo also got into her car. At this point, the car's seatbelts have indeed become 4-point seatbelts. Furthermore, there is a nitro boost option on the car's display screen. Most importantly, it says on it that the number of uses is 200. Mu Xiaomo was speechless. Nitrogen gas acceleration, 200 times. System, nitro boost, can add 0.5 seconds to launch, making 0-100 km/h acceleration only 1.4 seconds. Awesome. Damn, if it weren't real, Mu Xiaomo would have thought it was a penguin racing game. Never mind, the sooner the better. He didn't pay attention to these details. Soon, the convoy began to move. The convoy was led by a Porsche 918, also known as the Prince's car. Following that are numerous models including Nissan, Porsche, Mercedes-AMG, BMW M, Audi S, and RS. The sight of this convoy driving on the road was truly awe-inspiring. Passers-by took photos, while Mu Xiaomo dialed Huang Wenxu's number. He asked, Old Huang, who is that prince? Huang Wenxu replied, Don't you know? He's Wang Kengkong, the son of the chairman of Yida Group. Good heavens! Mu Xiaomo was stunned. Damn, it was Wang Kengkong. It's him, but isn't this guy over 30? Yes, he graduated from the Magic University and then went abroad to study. He's an alumnus here and then... This car team stayed. I just learned that many of the owners of Lamborghini Martin cars are college graduates who came here specifically to participate in the race today. So that's how it is. Omo didn't care whether he was Wang Kong or not and asked, "So, do you have any ideas about teaming up with me?" "Absolutely." Huang Wengsu agreed without hesitation. Although his car was quite old, he wanted to show them that experience truly matters. We followed the convoy for about an hour. The car had only just arrived at track number 9. Unfortunately, racetracks like this can only be built in remote suburbs. Outside the racetrack, the cars are parked neatly in rows. According to Wang Kong, now is the time to form a team. After getting out of the car, Huang Wengsu immediately stood on tiptoe and put his arm around Mu Omo's shoulder. Then he said, "Brother Mo, take a look. Who should we team up with? How about we find a girl?" I took a quick look around, and there are quite a few girls here, and they were all dressed very sexily. Although it's still a bit cold, the girls here almost always prioritize style over warmth. There were even some wearing black stockings. Of course, there are definitely skin-toned, bare-leg tights among black stockings. Well, you lecher, all you see is your sister. It was at this moment that Mu Omo spotted a target. He is the owner of a Porsche 718 GT4 RS. Old Huang, what do you think of that girl? Whether Chapter 241 can get first place, we'll find out soon enough. Huang Wengsu looked around. The girl was wearing a leather vest that exposed her midriff, with various tattoos on both arms, black shorts, black stockings, and black leather boots. A lock of her hair was dyed purple, but her makeup was unusually innocent. Standing at over 1.7 meters tall, she's clearly the type Huang Wengsu can't handle. This woman has an exceptionally strong aura. She's the kind of person you can only admire from afar, not to be trifled with. Moreover, the Porsche 718 GT4 RS is not cheap, with a final price approaching 2 million yuan. She's definitely a rich woman. When Huang Wengsu saw the younger sister Mu Omo mentioned, he immediately felt a sense of following his heart. He knew that no matter what he did, he couldn't control this kind of woman. "No, Brother Mo." Huang Wengsu immediately became timid and hesitant. Seeing him like this, Mu Omo rolled her eyes at him. "With a guts like yours, how can you be a scumbag?" "I want to be a scumbag, but my targets are some poor socialites, gold diggers. Those women are easy to fool. Look at how rich this girl is and her aura. I wouldn't dare approach her." Huang Wengsu is finished. Mu Omo continued. "It's not like I'm asking her to be your girlfriend. I mean, we're going to team up with her to play cars. What, you don't want to?" This is fine." Huang Wengsu nodded. "But you should go find her, I don't dare. You're done for. Let me tell you, dating is a game where the timid starve and the bold get rich. Watch my show." With that, Mu Omo walked over with considerable confidence. At this moment, the girl is sitting on the hood of the 718, playing on her phone. Just as Mu Omo was about to approach her, someone finished eating a banana and threw a banana peel at her. Then Mu Omo happened to step on it. Suddenly, his foot slipped. Splat! Mu Omo's bottom made a heavy, intimate contact with the ground. The girl next to him looked completely bewildered. Her instinctive reaction was to ask Mu Omo if she was all right. Are you all right?" It's nothing. Mu Omo was completely bewildered. Damn, who the hell is so rude, leaving banana peels everywhere after eating them? To be honest, Mu Omo was a little surprised by the girl's actions. After all, the two are still strangers. The fact that she came to help someone who had fallen shows that she is a helpful person. "It's good that you're all right." She smiled slightly and continued looking at her phone. Somewhat aloof. What should you say in your opening remarks? Reader's comment section. Because she was also here today to participate in a social event and to race on the track. So this girl must be interested in cars. At this point, you can give her a small compliment. Your car has a Porsche 718 GT4 RS with a 4V8 engine. This car is extremely rare. You must have waited a long time to buy it, right? Chin Meng looked up, then smiled and said, "I didn't expect you to know so much about cars." "Yes, I waited over a year for this car, but as long as I like it, that's all that matters, tilde. The color scheme of ice berry pink is really nice." Mu Omo continued, "I'm also here to participate in the competition. Now we need to form teams, right? So have you found any teammates yet?" Upon hearing this, Chin Meng shook her head. "Not yet. Many people say that the letters on the back of my phone are pasted on, but oh well, it doesn't matter." Hearing her words, Mu Omo knew that many people were just being sour grapes. "I'm just envious of her." However, it would be beneath her to directly invite her to join a team at this time. So Mu Omo came up with a solution. I happen to be one person short in my team, so how about I reluctantly give you a hand? Hearing Mu Ziomo's words, Chin Meng couldn't help but smile. She shrugged and said, "Could you reluctantly give me a hand?" "Yes," Mu Ziomo nodded and said with considerable confidence, "because if you team up with me, you'll definitely get first place." Chin Meng immediately became interested. Everyone else was begging her to join the team, but joining the team was just an excuse. These people were just after her because she was pretty. Mu Ziomo actually said that he would reluctantly help her win first place. If he doesn't have real strength, then he's just an ordinary guy. "Are you so sure you can get first place?" Mu Ziomo said softly. "Isn't it because we're on the road to first place that we're missing you?" Chin Meng was taken aback. Corny pickup lines. However, because Mu Ziomo was very good-looking, Chin Meng began to have some inappropriate thoughts. She extended her hand directly. "Chin Meng, Class 1, Guanghua School of Management, Shanghai University." So he wasn't from his school after all. Mu Ziomo also extended her hand. "Shanghai University of Science and Technology, I'd say I'm a professor, Mu Ziomo." "Professor?" Chin Meng was puzzled by Mu Ziomo's words. "He looks to be about my age, so how come he's a professor at the Magic University?" Of course, Chin Meng didn't dwell on this issue. At this moment, Mu Ziomo said, "If I help you get first place, remember to treat me to a meal." Chin Meng, "No problem, provided you can get first place." Nodding, Mu Ziomo said, "Come on, let me introduce you to our other partner." Not far away, Huang Wenxu stared at Mu Ziomo in shock. He almost died laughing when Mu Ziomo tripped and fell. Unexpectedly, the girl helped him up, and they ended up chatting happily together. Is this the power of good looks? Just as Huang Wenxu was lost in thought, Mu Ziomo arrived with Chin Meng. "Fatty Huang, let me introduce you. This is our partner, Chin Meng." Upon hearing this, Huang Wenxu's eyes immediately glanced at Chin Meng's baby-feeding device. Then he came over with a silly grin and said, "Hello, my name is Huang Wenxu from the University of Magic Science and Technology." Chin Meng from Magic University. She remained as aloof as ever. At that moment, Chin Meng glanced at the Lamborghini Gallardo behind Huang Wenxu and spoke. "Is this a Lamborghini Gallardo? It's almost 10 years old, can it still be taken to the track?" Huang Wenxu chuckled. "Don't let its age fool you. I specially refurbished the engine and transmission, then replaced the brakes with carbon ceramic ones and flashed them to stage 2. It'll definitely be fine." Chin Meng simply smiled slightly, then turned her head to look at Mu Ziomo's Audi RS e-tron GT. He said, "Your car is just an Audi EV. The official 0-100 km/h acceleration time is 3.3 seconds, but in actual tests, it's around 4.1 seconds. Is this what you mean by using it to help me get first place?" Upon hearing this, Mu Ziomo was taken aback. Why does Chin Meng criticize everyone? Mu Ziomo, whether we can get first place or not, we'll find out soon enough. Chapter 242, is that really a car or is it a spaceship? Mu Ziomo didn't dwell on this issue. Anyway, Chin Meng, this little girl is no ordinary person. After waiting for about 10 minutes, they posted the team information in the group chat, and then the competition began. The first round of the competition is a straight-line acceleration test. People who are into cars, that's what they do. Who's faster, whose roar sounds better, and so on. Participation in this round of the race was voluntary, and by this time, some Lamborghini owners had already gone over. If you want to see acceleration, you also need to look at these supercars. This track can only accommodate 10 cars at a time, such as the Lamborghini Aventador and Ferrari F8. And in short, all the cars that pass by are luxury cars. There isn't a four-door coupe at all. Mu Ziomo looked at the track not far away and thought, there's still one spot left. There was still one spot left on the track, but nobody was using it. Now that this car has been upgraded so much, I might as well go and test its performance. Just as Mu Ziomo was about to get into the car, Huang Wenxu said, "Brother Mo, you shouldn't go. Although your car accelerates very fast, it's still no match for those new Malin cars." "Who do you think you are?" Mu Ziomo rolled her eyes, then continued, "I'll show you what nitrogen acceleration really is." Mu Ziomo got into the car directly. Huang Wenxu was somewhat bewildered as he watched Mu Ziomo's retreating figure. Nitrogen acceleration. Does his car have nitrogen acceleration? Buzz. Because the car had been upgraded, its engine sound was particularly pleasant. Just like a spaceship. It's incredibly high-tech. Chin Meng frowned slightly when she saw Mu Ziomo drive over. She initiated a conversation with Huang Wenxu. "Mu Ziomo, did you modify the car? The sound of his car is off. No, Huang Wengsu was also a little confused at this moment. He had to admit that the sound of his car engine was particularly nice. The day after Mu Omo picked up the car, he took it for a test drive. Back then, the engine sound wasn't as futuristic as it is now. The main problem is that Mu Omo hasn't owned this car for very long, so he hasn't modified it at all. Also, this car isn't a gasoline car. It's an electric car, so how can it be modified? On a straight lane, Mu Omo had already driven the car over. To his left was a bright pink Lamborghini. On the right is a silver McLaren GT. These cars have all been modified, with many carbon fiber trim pieces. The car was parked here, and at that moment the owner of the Lamborghini rolled down the window. He exclaimed, "Wow, what kind of car is this? Is it an Audi A7? Mu Omo." He always felt that he was going to say something sarcastic to him. At this moment, his car window was not closed. He turned his head slightly and gave the owner of the Lamborghini the middle finger. The owner of the Lamborghini was completely bewildered. Good grief, an A7 owner actually dared to give him the middle finger. Even if he drives an RS7, he can't outrun him. Damn it, I'm definitely going to teach him a lesson later. Soon, a very beautiful young lady walked over. She was holding two small red flags in her hand, which she then raised high above her head. I stood in the center of the road. It looks like the competition is about to start. At this moment, Mu Omo directly clicked on the nitrogen boost option. System, nitrogen acceleration system is ready. The nitrogen valve has been opened, automatically triggered during launch. Upon seeing the system notification, Mu Omo gripped the steering wheel tightly. Then I switched the car to beast mode. Suddenly, an extremely futuristic pulse sound faintly rang out. 10. Someone outside is speaking through a loudspeaker. It should start in 10 seconds. At this moment, all 10 cars present pressed their accelerators and brakes at the same time, and many of their tires even began to slip on the spot. Mu Omo was also pressing the accelerator and brake at the same time. Boom! A pulsating sound came, the car's rear wing automatically rose, and the car body slowly slid downwards. 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. As time goes by, the female referee in the distance suddenly waved her flag. At the same time, everyone present released the brakes. Mu Omo was the same. The instant he released the brakes, a white stream of air shot out from the rear of the car with a whoosh. Meanwhile, on the dashboard, the speedometer directly displays 0-60-100. Almost in the blink of an eye, the car shot off. Although the tires had exceptional grip, the speed of this nitrogen gas was simply too fast. The car flew half a meter into the air before crashing heavily to the ground. Of course, this car is not only fast at accelerating from 0 to 100 km/h, 0-300 km/h in just 8 seconds. In the blink of an eye, they could no longer see Mu Omo's taillights. Holy crap! Holy crap, what kind of car is that? It's just an ordinary Audi trolley. How can it go so fast? And that wasn't nitrous oxide acceleration, was it? The crowd was buzzing with discussion. Meanwhile, the owner of that big car couldn't even see Mu Omo's taillights anymore, and was completely dumbfounded. What the heck? Is that really a car, or is it a spaceship? Holy crap! Huang Wengsu's mouth was wide open. It's even big enough to fit a light bulb inside. Is his car injected with hormones? Even Qin Meng was somewhat bewildered. She is a seasoned car enthusiast, and of course she knows the Audi RS e-tron GT very well. But he had no knowledge of cars that travel at such high speeds. At this moment, Qin Meng asked Huang Wengsu, "Excuse me, who is that Mu Omo just now?" Huang Wengsu was taken aback. Good heavens! Could it be that this girl has taken a liking to Mu Omo? But he already has a girlfriend, and she's pregnant. Of course, he also felt that he might be overthinking things. So Huang Wengsu replied, "Him? Speaking of which, he should be considered a legendary figure at the Magic University." Upon hearing this, Qin Meng immediately became interested in Mu Omo. She asked, "Tell me about it." He completed 4 years of university coursework in just 6 months, and then developed a drone. Huang Wengsu started bragging. Because he's his own brother, he exaggerates in all sorts of ways. He's not stupid. He can tell that Qin Meng is already interested in Mu Omo. Although Mu Omo has a wife and children, since there's an opportunity to spend time with other young ladies, he should seize it. What if we can fool the little traveler? As long as Mu Baining doesn't find out, it's fine. Of course, this is just Huang Wengsu's idea. This guy is such a scumbag. hearing about Mu Omo's glorious deeds. Qin Meng's heart skipped a beat. Drones, are they that powerful? Interesting. Chapter 243. Competition qualification revoked. Holy crap, that speed. How can it be so fast? About 4 kilometers from the starting line, Mu Omo touched her pounding heart and took a deep breath. Damn it, right after the launch, he felt an immense force pushing him from behind. I even felt like my soul was about to fall behind. This car is modified way too much. No, I can't use the beast mode and launch control like that. Although he acquired god-level driving skills, this trip almost sent Mu Omo away. The main problem is that they all took off like flies at the start. Moreover, the tire's grip has been improved. This car's exterior is ultimately not that of a sports car, so the wind resistance is still quite high. He swore he would never dare use that nitrogen accelerator again. After calming himself down, the owner of the Lamborghini truck, who had just been given the middle finger, caught up. He parked his car right next to Mu Omo's, then rolled down his window and said in astonishment, "Holy crap, bro, what's up with your car? How much did you spend modifying it?" "Only 30 million. Mu Omo started bragging. Holy shit. This person said, damn it. Spending 30 million to modify an Audi. That's really ruthless. Dude, you're fucking awesome. That's amazing. It's just average. Mu Omo rolled up the car window. Actually, you could have started your return journey at this point. This competition was meaningless. In fact, the results of the very beginning were already in. When I opened my phone, the group chat was already flooded with messages. His car was custom-made by an Audi designer. I've heard that there's only one in the world. The entire car is made of carbon fiber, and it can accelerate from 0 to 100 km/h in just 1 second. 1 second is too much. It must be at least 2 seconds, right? You saw him leave all those bulls and horns behind. Mu Omo looked at these comments and was speechless. What is all this stuff? Why is it called Audi's private customization? This is outrageous. Mu Omo didn't think much of it, and was about to turn off her phone when young Master Wang suddenly spoke up. Due to Mu Omo's excessive speed, and considering safety concerns, we regret to inform you that your qualification for the upcoming team competition has been cancelled. Also, at Chinese letter, I've added you on WeChat. Please accept my request. I have some questions I'd like to ask you. Upon seeing this message, his face darkened. I was inexplicably disqualified. However, this is within his tolerance range. But why would Wang Kengkong want to contact me? Did you even add him on WeChat? Mu Omo didn't think much of it and clicked agree directly. After all, this guy is a tycoon. It's really great to have such a connection. Without much thought, Mu Omo drove the car back. After parking his car, he walked towards Huang Wengsu's location. So Lao Huang, have you seen what a launch start and nitro boost are all about? Huang Wengsu was speechless. He asked blankly, Brother Mo, this car of yours is something else. Tell me quickly. When did you modify it? What was changed? Mu Omo boasted. My car is like this from the factory. You don't really think Ningning bought me a regular Audi RS e-tron GT, do you? Huang Wengsu was taken aback. Otherwise what? Let me tell you, this is an Audi RS e-tron GT custom edition, with a final price of 30 million. Huang Wengsu looked incredulous, because Audi doesn't offer any private customization services at all. Mu Omo didn't dwell on this question. He continued, however, I've been disqualified today. He turned to look at Qin Meng. I'm afraid I won't be able to win first place today. Qin Meng didn't take it seriously. All she knew was that she had met a tech mogul today. Yes, she believed Huang Wengsu's words. She just searched on Baidu for Mu Omo's glorious deeds. The main problem is that they actually found you. It's nothing. Qin Meng shook her head and said, Can we add each other on WeChat? I'd like to ask you if I have any questions in the future. Of course. He nodded. His WeChat moments contain very intimate photos of him and Mu Baining. Besides, she probably didn't even like him. It's best not to be so narcissistic. After all, people have 3 misconceptions. My phone vibrated. I can turn the tables, they like me. Soon, Qin Meng added Mu Omo's WeChat through a WeChat group. My fingers unconsciously opened his WeChat moments. Upon seeing that he had a girlfriend, Qin Meng's eyes immediately showed a hint of disappointment. However, we shouldn't disturb them. She didn't think about it anymore. She added Mu Omo on WeChat to talk about car-related issues. After chatting for a while, Huang Wengsu and Qin Meng went off to the racetrack. Meanwhile, many people also came to watch Mu Omo. Ask him some questions about cars. Mu completely let loose, saying that the car was specially customized and modified by Audi's original designers, and that the car used the same arc reactor as Iron Man, with unlimited range and so on. At first, no one believed it, but when they saw that the driving range was plus infinity, they were all stunned. Is it really true? Furthermore, Mu boasted that he had already reached a cooperation agreement with Arc Reactor. Cars like this will be produced in the future. He boasts without any preparation, and some wealthy second-generation heirs even added him on WeChat after hearing his boasts. They said that once this technology is available, we must contact them. They were the first to take care of his business. The day went by quickly. Huang Wenxu and Qin Meng did quite well, but they didn't get first place. Then, encouraged by Mu Xiaomo, he also took the initiative to add Qin Meng on WeChat. Qin Meng is a girl who is a bit aloof and mature, but she is also a freshman. I'm usually quite interested in all kinds of cars. This way, Huang Wenxu and she would have something in common. The two of them can often talk about cars and such. If he could win over Qin Meng, that would be fantastic. You could say Huang Wenxu's family's ancestral graves would be emitting auspicious smoke. As for Wang Kenkong contacting him, it was about the car. Mu Xiaomo gave a brief explanation, and Wang Kenkong did not reply to his message again. After all, it's perfectly normal for someone as busy as him to not have time for him. Time flies. In the following days, Mu Xiaomo focused on teaching and accompanied Mu Baining to and from get off work every day. Mu Baining's belly was getting bigger every day. 8 months have passed in the blink of an eye. That's right, it's the day Mu Yuning is about to be born. Mu Xiaomo is about to become a father. P.S. I'd be incredibly grateful for any small gifts or flowers. Chapter 244 must read. The baby's born, he's a dad now. October 10th, outside an operating room at the 3rd Maternal and Child Health Hospital in Shanghai. Look, the child has been inside for 10 minutes. Why is there still no movement? Mu Baining's father paced anxiously outside the operating room. Mu Xiaomo was taken aback. Dad, it's only been 10 minutes. Generally speaking, a normal delivery takes 1 to 2 hours. It's only been 10 minutes. No need to rush. Ningning was in good health during her pregnancy and cooperated with all the checkups, so there should be no problems. That's right, Li Qingru couldn't help but say. No need to rush. When I gave birth to Ningning, I lay in the operating room for 5 hours. After hearing what the two of them said, Mu Changlei did not say anything more. But after all, it was his daughter lying in the operating room, so it's no wonder he was anxious. Meanwhile, on the other side of the corridor, Mu Xiaomo's parents were also sitting on the benches. They were much more relaxed. In fact, they had come to Shanghai 3 months ago to help him take care of Mu Baining. As her due date approached, Mu Baining's belly grew quite large, making it difficult for her to move around. Her parents put aside their work and stayed with her for the past few months. Of course, although Mu Xiaomo didn't seem anxious on the surface, she was extremely anxious inside. He knew that childbirth was extremely painful. Women who are willing to have children are great. About 20 minutes later, the operating room light was still on. Just then, Mu Changlei's phone suddenly rang. He took out his phone, and his expression immediately turned serious when he saw the phone number on it. Hello, this is Mu Changlei. What? Yes. Yes. Okay, I'll be right there. He hung up the phone in just over 10 seconds. At the same time, Li Qingru couldn't help but turn her gaze to him. He asked, What's wrong, Lao Mu? Didn't you take the day off, are you? Going to the police station again? Mu Changlei's expression was full of helplessness. Logically speaking, today is the day their little one was born. He, as the maternal grandfather, should be here. But things just happened by chance. Just now, the bureau chief called him and said that the drug trafficking gang, Black Scorpion, which had been on the run for more than 10 years, had reappeared in Shanghai. They seem to be hiding somewhere, and then somewhere they will make a deal. More than a decade ago, Black Scorpion was his rival. However, due to an accident, he was shot, which allowed Black Scorpion to escape. He reappeared more than a decade later, and this time we will surely bring him to justice. Something came up at the station and I have to go back. Don't worry, it's a small matter. I'll see our grandson when I get back. Xiaomo, I have to go back for a while. Take good care of Ning Ning. Don't worry, Dad. Mu Xiaomo nodded heavily. He had a hunch that the matter Mu Changlei was dealing with was definitely not small, but he didn't think much of it. Intuition is a tricky thing to do. Soon, Mu Xiaomo arrived at the location where his parents were. At this moment, Dad asked, How did it go? Did your father-in-law just leave? Mu Zaya Omo nodded. He said he had some things to take care of at the police station. Dad nodded but didn't say anything more. About an hour later, the operating room door finally opened. Seeing this, Mu Zaya Omo, his parents and Lee Kingru quickly rushed over. A doctor and a nurse came out at the same time, and she turned her attention to Mu Zaya Omo. Then he asked, "Are you a family member of Mu Baining?" "We all are." Mu Zaya Omo nodded. Hearing his words, the doctor took off his mask and said with a smile, "Congratulations, mother and daughter are safe and sound. It's a baby girl born at 2:25 p.m. weighing 5 pounds 6 ounces. Oh, it's a baby girl. A baby girl is great. I have another little darling now." Mu Zaya Omo's parents, as well as Lee Kingru, were extremely excited. Seeing the family's happy faces, the doctor also smiled. "Congratulations. The mother is a little weak right now. If you want to go in to see the baby, please don't make too much noise when you go in." Okay, both sides nodded. By this time, everything was fine, and the doctors and nurses had all left. After they see the child, they can be temporarily moved to a regular ward. Of course, the four of them didn't hesitate and quickly went inside. There was only one nurse here at the moment, looking at the child's information. The newborn baby was already wrapped in a blanket. At this moment, Mu Zaya Omo did not check on the child immediately. Instead, he walked up to Mu Baining first. At this moment, she stared blankly at the ceiling. His face was a little pale, his lips were a little bluish, and there were some sweat stains on his forehead. She must have been in a lot of pain when she gave birth. Mu Zaya Omo went over, took her hand directly, and then took a deep breath. He said, "Ning Ning, you've worked hard today." Mu Baining actually thought that Mu Zaya Omo would look after the child first after coming in. But the fact that he came in and looked for her first made her feel a sense of relief. The performance was not bad. She gently shook her head. "It's okay, we'll have our own child in the future. It's really a girl. Congratulations, Momo, you have your little darling now. Is Ning Ning all right?" At this moment, his parents also came over. Upon seeing that they were Mu Zaya Omo's parents, Mu Baining's lips curled up. "It's okay. I'm fine now, it's just that my belly is smaller and I'm not used to it yet, ha ha ha. Momo, why don't you go check on the kids too? I'll stay with you a little longer." Mu Zaya Omo did not grant her request. At this moment, Mu Baining noticed that his father had not come over. She murmured, "Momo, where's my dad?" He just received a phone call. It seems like something urgent came up, and he left." "I see." Mu Baining nodded without giving it much thought. Her father often does this. "After receiving the call, I always leave here in a hurry. Of course, now that the baby is born, it's time for him to retire and help her take care of the child, he. It's okay. He said he'll come back when he's done with his work." Seeing Mu Zaya Omo standing there dumbfounded, Mu Baining quickly said, "All right, Momo, go check on the baby. Just tell your parents Zioning's name." Okay. Mu Zaya Omo slowly walked to the crib. Little Ning Ning is lying here peacefully with her eyes half closed. Their little hands are clenched into fists, which is very cute. The main reason is that she has a lot of chubby cheeks. Looking at the pink and tender little Ning Ning, Mu Zaya Omo wanted to pinch her cheeks. At this moment, Lee Kingru asked, "Momo, have you and Ning Ning come up with a name for her yet?" He nodded. "Let's call her Mu Yuning." Chapter 245. I wonder which young man will benefit from this in the future. Mu Yuning. Upon hearing this, Lee Kingru immediately felt that the name sounded quite nice. But it should have some meaning. At this moment, his father asked, "Son, does the name Mu Yuning have any meaning?" "Of course it is." Mu Zaya Omo nodded. "Actually, it's what Ning Ning and I mean. Our child is named Mu Yuning. Why not call it shower gel? Ning Ning, why don't you change the name to Mu Bailu?" Mu Zaya Omo. Su Tang. Lee Kingru. Mu Baining. Old Mu, what are you saying? Mom immediately twisted Dad's ear. "Ouch, it hurts, I was just kidding." Whoa. Perhaps it was because the noise was too loud, and the loud noise directly frightened Zairo Ning Ning. Mu Zaya Omo quickly stepped forward and picked up Zairo Ning Ning. "Little Ning Ning, don't cry, oh dear. Don't cry, don't cry." Looking at Zairo Ning Ning with her mouth wide open, whimpering, she hadn't even grown any teeth yet. That's right, how could a newborn baby have teeth? Don't cry, don't cry." Seemingly sensing her father's love, Zairo Ning Ning immediately quieted down in Mu Zaya Omo's arms. It neither cried nor made a fuss. It was quite amazing. Sigh, she stopped crying. Mu Zaya Omo was secretly delighted. As expected of his little darling, Ning Ning was so obedient. "Come on, Ning Ning, open your eyes and look at Mommy." Mu Zaya Omo carried Mu Yuning, and carefully approached Mu Baining's side. Looking at her round little face, Mu Baining felt a warm glow inside. This child looks a lot like her when she was little. I wonder which young man will benefit from this. Meanwhile, the 1st Criminal Investigation Brigade of Shanghai. This time, our opponent is Black Scorpion, who has been on the run for over a decade. Although we haven't met him in person, the tattoos on his group can't be hidden. We've been investigating this recently, and it's now confirmed. They'll be making a deal in D16 in the abandoned garage. So we must complete this mission. Did you all hear me? I heard you. The chief is speaking. Yes, it's about the Black Scorpion case. They had fought Black Scorpion once more than a decade ago. That's right, Black Scorpion got away. They also injured several criminal police officers. This time, their mission was particularly arduous. They had to capture Black Scorpion. There are 10 criminal police officers in the Criminal Investigation Department. A total of 15 people will be dispatched this time, including members of the surrounding criminal investigation team who will assist them. Of course, Mu Changlei, as the captain, will definitely participate. All right, please get ready, 10 of you. They will be trading in Warehouse D16 at 10 p.m. tonight. So, everyone, go there now and wait for them to come to you. Yes. Soon the group dispersed. Mu Changlei took a deep breath. In fact, what he was thinking about at that moment was the child he had not yet met. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Captain, have you seen the child? Everyone in the police station knows that Mu Changlei's grandson is about to be born. He often said that he would retire once the child was born. Hearing Chen Liniang's words, Mu Changlei sighed and shook his head. When I came out, the child hadn't been born yet. Upon hearing this, Chen Liniang was not in a good mood either. This mission is extremely dangerous. The higher-ups have already dispatched vehicles and delivered the guns to them. Their opponent was, after all, Black Scorpion. They had underestimated Black Scorpion more than a decade ago. He got away. This time, the mission must be 100% successful. Just then, Mu Changlei's phone rang. It's a WeChat message. Upon opening it, I found it was sent by Mu Xiaomo. There are some photos of Mu Yuning inside. After seeing the photos of the babies, Mu Changlei couldn't help but stroke his phone screen. It's like touching a child. A smile appeared on his lips. However, Mu Changlei didn't look at it for long. Instead, he turned off his phone and put it somewhere. Then, after packing up their equipment, the 4 MPVs quickly left the area. Their target is Warehouse D16. At the same time, Black Scorpion's men have been stationed at Warehouse D16 for many days. In recent years, the city's public security has been getting better and better. They've been hiding in the shadows like rats lately. Fortunately, D16 is a warehouse that had been abandoned for many years. A few years ago, an explosion occurred at a factory here, which ignited these warehouses. This incident caused quite a stir back then. Later, it was discovered that the warehouse contained a lot of harmful substances, and because it was far from the city center, the area was gradually forgotten. The roads outside are usually deserted, so it's relatively safe to trade here. Black Scorpion has made ample preparations for tonight's transaction. Currently, there are a total of 6 people stationed in the shadows. Moreover, each person was equipped with a submachine gun. There were even 2 snipers who could see the whole situation. For the sake of ensuring the safety of tonight's transaction, 2 kilometers from Warehouse D16, 4 cars were parked in a secluded spot. Then, all 15 criminal police officers got out of the car and began to wait for Mu Changlei's instructions. The commander of this mission was Mu Changlei. Most of the warehouses here are abandoned, and only a very few factories are operating normally. Mu Changlei and his group slowly approached D16 and then hid inside a factory building. Later, Team A will be with me, 2 snipers, find the best position. According to the director, they should have been conducting the transaction in the lobby of D16. We need to wait until they finish their transaction, then ambush them and arrest everyone involved. This time, the higher-ups said we can kill them directly. We will make a judgment based on the actual combat situation later. Let's find a location first. Be careful, they may already have people stationed around here. Try not to alert them. Yes. Soon, Mu Changlei and his group split into 3 groups and left the place. And they found a place to wait for the rabbit to run into their trap. Time flies. Before we knew it, it was 9 o'clock in the evening. Mu Changlei and his group had been stationed on an abandoned water tower for a long time. They kept watching the vehicles passing by. Of course, their colleagues were already outside D16. About 20 minutes later, a voice came through the radio. Captain, Black Scorpion's vehicles have appeared and stopped at the entrance of D16. There are 3 vehicles in total, and 14 people got out. What? Mu Changle was taken aback upon hearing this. We're coming right away. Chapter 246, Captain Mu, how have you been? Soon, without alerting the suspect, Mu Changle, Chen Liniang, and the other criminal police officers quickly moved to a new location. They entered a dilapidated truck bed together, from which they could see the door of warehouse D16. The Black Scorpion men hadn't gone in yet. They were dressed uniformly in black suits, and even though it was night, they were wearing sunglasses. That's right, the outfit looks like a villain from a TV series. Chen Liniang used binoculars to look at the briefcase in the other person's hand. If I'm not mistaken, they'll be conducting a cash transaction here tonight. After all, banks will notice if there are large transfers. The 14 people lingered around suspiciously for a while, and soon, 2 of them stayed at the door while the others went inside. Captain, they have guns, Chen Liniang said in a low voice. That's right. The 2 men guarding the door are both carrying submachine guns. This gun is not like the one described in some games. Submachine guns are extremely lethal and have a very high rate of fire. Report to your superiors that we need some reinforcements. Yes. After speaking, Mu Changle continued to observe the scene in front of him. Just then, an SUV came along. It must be the person who bought product D. There weren't many buyers. Including the driver, there were only 5 people. They also had weapons. The 2 sides appeared to have finished negotiating, and the 2 scorpion-like men at the door did not stop them. Mu Changle took a deep breath. It seems that the 2 sides have already started making a deal. Modern transactions are not like those in TV dramas, filled with endless nonsense. If they are long-term customers, they will leave immediately after exchanging goods. It's not even 10 o'clock yet, so the intelligence doesn't seem very accurate. At this moment, everyone here held their breath. A dozen people had already surrounded the abandoned factory warehouse, and they would shoot and wound them as soon as they knew they were coming out. The evidence is conclusive. None of these people can escape today. Captain, someone has come out. His colleague's voice came through the earphones. The man who came out was a Japanese man with a middle parting and a tuft of mustache above his lip. He was also carrying a black briefcase. Not only him, but most of the people present were carrying them. Of course, because of the distance, they didn't realize that he was a Japanese person. D16 entrance. Yoshi we have a pleasant working relationship, the Japanese man said in somewhat broken Chinese. Haha, Mr. Miyamoto, absolutely. I have plenty of these top-quality goods, if you need them again in the future. Chen Hu made a gesture, as if he were making a phone call. Miyamoto Kojiro nodded, gave his men behind him a wink, and then the group got into the SUV. Not far away, Mu Changle had already spoken. All right, everyone stay hidden, let's begin. Yes. The voice of Mu Changle's colleague came through the tactical headset. At this point, a surprise attack is the best tactic. Banged. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out from somewhere. Immediately afterwards, a voice came through the earphones. Captain, we've been attacked. We've been attacked. Xiao Zhang has been shot. What? Mu Changle's heart sank upon hearing this. Could it be that someone has already spotted them coming? Upon hearing the gunshots, everyone went on high alert. A group of people from Japan quickly drove off, as if the Black Scorpion men had anticipated this. At the same time, gunshots rang out from somewhere. This was the first time Mu Changle had ever seen the enemy launch an attack on them. Even after so many years as a criminal investigator, this was the first time he had ever seen such a large-scale operation. All right, this is my last battle before retirement. Scorpion, you won't escape this time, everyone be careful. As he spoke, Mu Changle quickly moved to a different position. After confirming that his location had not been exposed, Mu Changle peeked out from the right side of a wall. The situation was somewhat unfavorable for them at this point. After all, more than a decade has passed, and he no longer knows how many people the Scorpion gang has or what kind of weapons they use. The risk level is indeed very high right now, but since he was already there, he had no choice. At this moment, the Black Scorpion men also hid behind a car. Suddenly, a crackling sound like popping beans came from the walls all around, and it was accompanied by the sound of bullets hitting metal. That's right, one of the teams has already started fighting with this side. The wall kept bumping against the surrounding buildings, making it particularly eye-catching. Captain, the Black Scorpion has at least 20 members. Some of them got here before us, and our whereabouts have been exposed. Banged. Just then, a bullet hole suddenly appeared on the wall, a dozen centimeters from his head. Mu Changle reacted instantly, flipped over, and rolled into the warehouse behind him. "There's a sniper." It seems their actions were discovered long ago. Mu Changle quickly said, "Everyone be careful. Black Scorpion has a large number of men this time, and they are well equipped. There are even snipers around." Someone responded on the radio. "One team is currently chasing 3 people. One member of the Black Scorpion team has been shot, while no one from the other team has been injured. One member of the second team was injured. Zhang Bin was shot in the leg, and his injury is serious. There's a sniper here. I saw one on the water tower. I've already killed one." Over the walkie-talkie, the criminal police officers reported the current situation in an orderly manner. "Captain, reinforcements have already blocked the roads on the outskirts." "Okay, everyone be careful." Mu Changle gripped the Type 95 rifle tightly in his hand. He knew that by this time, someone had already noticed him. Mu Changle cautiously observed the movements around him, and just then, he suddenly turned around. At the same time, a dark figure flashed past from inside a small door. He couldn't see the figure's face clearly, but it was most likely one of Black Scorpion's men. Without saying a word, Mu Changle chased after it in that direction. This warehouse has several floors. Inside were many scrapped forklifts, cardboard boxes, and goods that had been burned to charcoal. Once you get to the 3rd floor, the surroundings become very spacious. The dark figure ahead was still running, and there was nothing behind him. Seeing this, Mu Changle took aim and fired several shots. But because it was dark and far away, it didn't hit at all. Mu Changle gritted his teeth and continued chasing forward. It was just as he entered a narrow room. Suddenly, a gun was pressed against the back of his head. A voice followed. "Captain Mu, how have you been?" Chapter 247, Captain Mu is missing. Upon hearing the sound, Mu Changle's pupils contracted. This person is Chen Hu. Chen Hu is the top leader of Black Scorpion. More than 10 years ago, he personally killed Chen Hu's younger brother, Chen Long. Chen Hu and Chen Long were twins who lived in a rural area. Because they were twins, their mother had a difficult childbirth and died after giving birth to them. From then on, my father also became addicted to gambling, squandering all the family's money and house. Later, my father ran away. Their grandparents raised them. They did well in school, but then disaster struck. A torrential rain caused flooding that buried their home. Ever since the 2 brothers were frequently ridiculed by their classmates, they couldn't stand it and got into a fight with them. This incident quickly spiraled out of control. After it happened, the 2 of them began to neglect their duties and started engaging in petty theft. Then he gradually strayed onto the path of crime. More than a decade ago, in a drug trafficking case, Mu Changle shot and killed Chen Long. Chen Long died in Chen Hu's arms, and Chen Hu ran away. Upon hearing Chen Hu's voice, Mu Changle gave a dry laugh. He was about to move when Chen Hu shouted, "Don't move. You two take all the weapons off him." Then the 2 men from Black Scorpion stepped forward and removed all the equipment from Mu Changle's body. Because a gun was constantly pointed at his head, Mu Changle dared not make any big moves. He only turned his head after all the equipment had been removed. It really was Chen Hu. Chen Hu clenched his fists when he saw Mu Changle. He had been waiting for this day for a very, very long time. For more than a decade, he had been thinking day and night about avenging his brother. "This time, I finally have a chance. Boss, let's just take care of him right here," said one of Chen Hu's henchmen. "No," Chen Hu shook his head. "Take him back, I want to torture him properly." Snort. Outside. Bang, bang, bangs. Great, great, great. Gunshots could be heard from time to time all around. At this point, the Black Scorpion men had already begun their evacuation via radio. At this point, both Black Scorpion and the criminal police suffered particularly heavy losses. Black Scorpion has killed 4 people, injured 5 in total, and subdued 1 person. As for the criminal police, no one has died yet, but 4 people have been shot, and Captain Mu Changle has lost contact with them. The Black Scorpion men knew they couldn't afford to waste any more time here. The police reinforcements would arrive soon. Their only option was to leave. Of course, because they have been trading here frequently in recent years, they have specially dug an escape tunnel underground. It's an abandoned suburb, so the regulations here are very lax. Captain, is the captain there? Team leader. Midnight outside a ward at the 3rd Maternal and Child Health Hospital in Shanghai. Dad, Mom, Ningning, and the child are all asleep. You can go back first tonight. I'll stay here and watch over them, Mu Ziomo said with a serious expression. For some reason, ever since Mu Changle left, he had a bad feeling. I don't know why, but I've been feeling particularly irritable. It's like something big is about to happen. Okay, Li Qingru nodded, her expression somewhat unpleasant. Why has Lao Mu called me back yet? His phone has been switched off for a long time. Today is the joyous day of the baby's birth. And not only was he not there, he didn't even answer the phone. Just as Li Qingru finished speaking, her phone rang. Li Qingru thought it was Mu Changlei, but when she saw the string of numbers on it, she was stunned. This number belongs to the Criminal Investigation Team. However, Li Qingru still pressed the answer button. Hello? What? Old Mu has disappeared. Banded gunshot wound. Upon hearing the voice on the phone, Li Qingru's eyes immediately rolled back. He involuntarily fainted. Mu Xiaomo was also completely bewildered. What was going on? Is he wanted by the police? Gunshot wound. He quickly helped Li Qingru up, then turned his attention to his parents. I'll go call the doctor first. My dad's expression also looked a little unnatural, and he quickly ran away. Mu Xiaomo picked up the phone from the ground and said, Hello, this is Mu Xiaomo. Mu Changlei is my father-in-law. Hello, Xiaomo, I am Chen Liniang, Lao Mu's subordinate. Upon hearing this voice, Mu Xiaomo hummed in response. He remembered this person. The two had crossed paths before. Uncle Chen, what exactly happened? I think I just heard. A gunshot wound. Well, Chen Liniang was unsure whether to tell him about it. After all, his child was just born today. However, secrets don't stay hidden forever. This matter has become a big deal. Even if we don't tell him today, he'll find out tomorrow. Then Chen Liniang spoke up. Xiaomo Do, who has been on the run for over a decade, has resurfaced. Today, we're going on a mission with the captain, but Chen Liniang did not continue speaking. Mu Xiaomo was taken aback. He asked, but what? The captain went missing. Later, we checked the surrounding area and found his equipment. He may have been kidnapped by drug traffickers. Mu Xiaomo was completely dumbfounded after hearing this. What era are we living in? How can something like this still happen? He asked, and then, did you catch the drug traffickers or find their location? We don't know yet that the drug trafficking gang was better prepared than we were. They designed an escape route, and in the end, our people couldn't stop them. Their vehicles vanished like ghosts. Mu Xiaomo was taken aback. That's absolutely outrageous. It was at this moment that the system, which had been resting for more than 10 months, finally started to reappear. Ding, host trigger medium, you have activated selection mode. Option 1, rescue Mu Changlei at all costs. There may be danger to your life, but the system will do its best to help the host. Option 2, give up. Upon hearing the system's voice, Mu Xiaomo couldn't help but smile. When did the word give up even exist in Mu Xiaomo's dictionary? Ding, the host has made a choice, but I'm sorry. The system does not currently know Mu Changlei's location. But the Black Scorpion people will go to Flea Street tomorrow to swindle laborers. The host can take this opportunity to try to enter Black Scorpion's headquarters. Hearing the system's voice, Flea Market. Are they trying to fool the workforce? Mu Xiaomo frowned slightly and took a deep breath. No. System, before that, you need to change your status. The system will package the host as a mentally unstable patient and use this identity to enter Black Scorpion's headquarters. Insanity. System, he's an idiot. Chapter 248, strong, capable, and able to find a wife. Mu Xiaomo. Idiot? Well, an idiot is an idiot. He didn't think much of it at the time. The call hadn't ended yet, and Mu Xiaomo said, Okay, Officer Chen, I understand. Okay, Chen Liniang comforted Mu Xiaomo. Don't worry about this. We will do our best to rescue Captain Mu. This is troublesome. Mu Xiaomo hung up the phone immediately. At this moment, Mu Xiaomo looked up and focused his gaze on his mother. Mom, let's get your mother-in-law to bed first. At this moment, both of them were feeling rather heavy-hearted. This fact is hard for anyone to accept. The main thing is, Mu Yuning was just born today. Although it is a maternal and child health hospital, it also has basic medical facilities. Li Qingru fainted due to excessive mental stress, but there was nothing seriously wrong with her. In a regular ward, Li Qingru had already fallen asleep after receiving an IV drip. Mu Xiaomo and his parents are here with him. Just then, his dad suddenly patted him on the shoulder. Then he said to Mu Xiaomo, Son, come out for a moment. Without much thought, Mu Xiaomo followed her father out of the ward and into the corridor. Dad, what's up? He asked, and his father looked him straight in the eye and said, Be careful when you go tomorrow. Leave the child in the hospital and your mother-in-law to me and your mother. By the way, your sister will be here tomorrow afternoon. Just have her keep Da Ning and Xiao Ning company. Upon hearing her father's words, Muziomo's pupils contracted. Does Dad know he has a system? Dad is the main character in the first book, and he also has a system, so he always knew that his son had one tilde. Dad, you? Muziomo was about to ask something when her father nodded. I know all that. A slight smile played on his lips. Otherwise, how could you afford a house in Shanghai #1 courtyard? This, Muziomo was taken aback, so her father knew about this. Dad continued, no matter what, be careful. Use your intelligence to bring your old Mew back, and then once Ningning is almost fully recovered, we'll go back to Jiangbei and hold your wedding. Don't worry, Dad. Muziomo nodded heavily, still confident about the matter, although it is indeed quite dangerous over there. But he believed in his own abilities and in the system. Go and get some rest first. When you get home, prepare for things. You don't need to worry about anything here. Good. After careful consideration, Muziomo went into the ward to check on the sleeping De Ningning and Xiao Ningning, and then quickly left. Then he returned to Shanghai #1 courtyard, to his home, to his bedroom. At this time, the family had already prepared all kinds of clothes, diapers, and a crib for Xiao Ningning. Even her mother was worried that Mu Baining wouldn't have enough breast milk, so she bought a lot of formula. Muziomo took a deep breath and sat on the bed. Then the system was brought up. System, can you tell me the plan in detail? When this question arose in his mind, the system panel opened automatically. Then lines of text were displayed on top. Next, the host's appearance and body shape will be slightly different, but your power will not be affected. Immediately afterwards, Muziomo felt something strange happening to her body. He still had muscles, but he was much thinner than usual, with dark skin, calluses on his hands, and many cracks on his fingers. At first glance, he looks like a big, clumsy guy who only knows how to do manual labor. Standing in front of the mirror, Muziomo was surprised to find that he had become cross-eyed, the kind that can't be fixed. He seemed rather dim-witted. His eyes were vacant, his shoulders were uneven, and his skin was dark. He was only slightly better than a scavenger who picked up trash. He knew that by contacting drug dealers under this identity, he could avoid arousing suspicion. System, at 5 a.m. tomorrow, please take the billboard to the labor market location on Flea Street. There is a high probability that the D vendor will contact you. The system panel was closed. At this moment, Muziomo didn't think much about it. She would have to dress in rags when she went out tomorrow. Phew, I wonder what's going on over there. By the way, drones should be usable. During Mu Baining's pregnancy, his drone technology had already been deployed in Shanghai. That's right, it's a collaboration with Elim. The current results are acceptable, but it has not been put into large-scale use. Without much thought, having spent the whole day at the hospital, Muziomo lay down on the bed and fell asleep almost immediately, because it was already past 1 a.m. when I went to bed. He only slept for 3 hours before being woken up by his phone alarm. He was a little confused, which is normal since he had only slept for a short while. He groggily put on his slippers and went to the mirror. When he saw his silly reflection, he didn't react for a moment. Holy crap, this is absolutely disgusting. To make the performance more convincing, Muziomo simply stopped brushing her teeth and washing her face. After browsing for a while, I found a set of clothes that I wore before I went to college. At that time, he was a poor boy with only 3,000 yuan for living expenses, so the clothes he wore were naturally not very nice. Because of the slight change in body shape, wearing these clothes makes him look quite silly. Looking at herself in the mirror, Muziomo took a deep breath. That should work. Then he quickly went downstairs. Because he didn't have his phone with him, he only had 50 yuan in change on him. The fare to the flea market is enough anyway. He hailed a taxi on the street. Although the taxi driver was reluctant to take him, he ultimately did not refuse. At 4:40 a.m., Muziomo arrived at the labor market of the flea market. Although Shanghai is a particularly bustling metropolis, there are still many people who do not have a fixed routine. So, many people come here to look for temporary work in the early morning labor market. He picked up a piece of cardboard on the street and happened to see someone writing with chalk. He went over and said, "Brother, can I borrow your pen?" At this moment, Muziomo's tone and actions were exactly the same. He looks silly, and most people wouldn't be able to tell that he's faking it. Upon hearing this, the person rolled their eyes at Muziomo, then said with a look of disdain, "Where did this idiot come from? Never mind, take it." "Thanks, brother, hee." Then Muziomo thought about it carefully. A few words were written on the cardboard. Strong, capable, and able to get married. Chapter 249. I'll take you to find a wife right away. Others write their expertise and daily wage requirements on cardboard. Omo wrote these words to emphasize the image of a fool. Omo even felt that he could become an actor. Soon he squatted down on the side of the road, holding up a sign amidst the crowd. Around 5 o'clock, a fleet of minivans arrived. Wages in the labor market are not high. Although Shanghai is a first-tier city, the daily wage for cheap rural laborers is only 300–400 yuan at most. And they all work under the sun. It's almost mid-October now, and the temperature isn't very high yet. If it were a hot summer, it would be easy to get heat stroke. Anyone looking to carry steel bars at the construction site? 600 yuan a day, lunch provided, wages settled at 8 p.m. If you're interested, come quickly, we need 5 people. Aye, boss, I'll do it. Upon hearing that it would cost 600 yuan a day, many people flocked to it. For migrant workers like this, a job that pays 600 yuan a day and includes meals is indeed quite good. As time went on, people from all sorts of companies came here to recruit. For example, there are people carrying cement, sorting express packages, demolishing walls during renovations, and all sorts of other jobs. Around 5:20, 2 people walked over, one tall and one short, one fat and one thin. Both of them had pompadour hairstyles. The fat man had many acne scars on his face, and the blackheads on his nose were so big they could be used to plant rice seedlings. As for the skinny guy, he had large, dark circles under his eyes, looking like he had kidney deficiency. The system's voice came through. Host, the fat man and the thin man not far from you are Black Scorpion's men. Please seize the opportunity. Upon hearing the system's voice, Omo turned her gaze over. Both of them were wearing black coats. Their attire was very ordinary, the kind of ordinary passers-by that wouldn't attract much attention on the street. At this moment, the fat man sighed helplessly and said, "Looking for test subjects. Brother, do you think there are any idiots around here? Any normal person wouldn't come with us, right? Stop talking nonsense. If you have the guts, go and talk to Boss Chen." That's right, as Boss Chen just said. They've recently developed a particularly potent drug. The boss meant for them to come here and try their luck to see if they could find a test subject. Well, at this moment, the fat man Lu Qing spoke up. "Brother, look at that ugly guy. Isn't he our target?" Upon hearing Lu Qing's words, Sun Duoshang turned his gaze over. After seeing Omo, it was indeed as Lu Qing had said. The person looking for a job didn't seem very bright. Let's see if we can fool them a little. Omo frowned, having already noticed 2 people walking towards him. Lu Qing was immediately intrigued when he saw Omo squatting on the ground, dirty, and with a grotesque appearance. He looked at the cardboard in his hand and read aloud, "Strong, able to work, and able to get a wife." Hehe, Omo chuckled and slowly stood up. Omo said in a silly tone, Yes, my mother said that if you are strong and can work, you can make a lot of money. And if you make a lot of money, you can get married." Good heavens, brother, what an idiot. Lu Qing was overjoyed. At that moment, upon hearing his words, Omo threw a punch at him. Smack! Keep in mind that his strength hadn't changed. This punch landed squarely on Lu Qing's face. "Why do you call me stupid? I'm not stupid. I want to make a lot of money and get married. Do you even have a wife?" Omo acted very convincingly. After Lu Qing was punched, he immediately wanted to go up and fight Omo. But Sun Duoshang, who was next to him, pulled him back. "What are you doing? Why are you messing around with an idiot? Isn't this the target that Brother Chen mentioned? Just find a way to bring him there." Snort. Lu Qing snorted and did not reply. Sun Duoshang then turned his attention to Omo, who was sulking. He chuckled and said, "Heh, silly, oh no. Brother, what's your name?" Omo. "My name is Li Erniu. I'm stronger than an ox when I was little. My mom said I used to beat calves, so she just put me in the cowshed. I sleep while hugging a cow." Sun Duoshang couldn't help but chuckle after hearing Omo's words. Good grief, Mom put him to sleep in the cowshed. Is this kid someone picked up from a trash can? That's true. It's normal for someone with a mental disability like that to sleep in a cattle pen. All right, Sun Duosheng continued. Let me tell you, Erniu, I have a factory here. Aren't you strong and capable of working? Why don't you come and give it a try? Do you have a wife? Now Omo's eyes are only on his wife. Yes, of course. Let me tell you, we have plenty of wives around here. How about I introduce you to one? Xing, Omo slapped her thigh. I want someone who's 1.7 meters tall and knows how to herd sheep. We have people here who can raise pigs, sheep, and ducks. Come on, I'll take you there right now and help you find a wife. Hee, let's go. Seeing how easily Omo was fooled, Lu Qing and Sun Duosheng were both very happy. That's too easy. I never expected such a big city like Shanghai to have such a fool. That's a real steal. They led Muzai Omo into a Wuling van without license plates. Then they put a black hood directly on Muzai Omo. What are you trying to do? Muzai Omo instinctively struggled, and Sun King Sheng said, Don't do anything, don't you want a wife? The place I'm taking you can't be known by anyone. In a little while, you'll see your wife. I need someone who knows how to herd sheep. Okay, you know how to herd sheep, you know how to herd sheep. Seeing Muzai Omo quiet down, Sun King Sheng smiled disdainfully. Ha, you idiot, I'll get you later. Because she was wearing a hood and her eyes were covered, Muzai Omo had no idea where she was going. But he has a system. He had already opened the system, and his location was displayed on the system. Currently, the car is heading towards the port in the southeast. Most of the roads there were cheap back roads, and the car swayed and bumped along for several hours until it had left Shanghai and arrived in Jiangsu province. To Ling Muzai Omo's surprise, they actually brought him to Jiangsu province. Could it be that their headquarters are here? The car continued driving. This place was far from the city center, and the road was full of potholes. These people deliberately avoided places with surveillance cameras. Finally, the car stopped at a flour processing plant. All right, Erniu, get down. I'll take you to find a wife right away. P.S. I'd be incredibly grateful for any small gifts or flowers. Chapter 250. When I was little, I often slept with cows. Hehe's okay, Muzai Omo said in a silly manner, but despite his current foolish appearance, his eyes were already on the flour mill. That's right, he needs to find out how many people are here, and the area and the layout inside. System, could you scan this area? Requesting drone scan. Scan should be completed in approximately 4 hours. Actually, not only can mobile phones control drones, but operating systems can too. Ding, the system has prepared self-defense weapons, daily necessities, etc. for you. You can open the system warehouse at any time to view them. Upon hearing the system's voice, Muzai Omo was overjoyed. Actually, his phone was stored in the system repository. After all, we still need to find some time to send our location here using our phones and wait for rescue. He didn't know anything about Black Scorpion, and he didn't know exactly how many people were there. But none of that matters. The purpose of coming here now is simply to figure things out. Idiot, what are you looking at? Stop looking, come on, I'll take you to find a wife. Sun Duosheng and Lu Qing didn't take Muzai Omo seriously at all. Although their boss told them to be careful, what was there to be wary of in a fool? I'll find him some work to do first, and then send him away as a guinea pig in a few days. Lu Qing turned his gaze to Sun Duosheng and said, Let's take him to see Brother Chen quickly. We completed the mission so smoothly today, they will definitely reward us. Yes, Sun Qingsheng said. Come on, you fool, I'll take you to find your wife. Soon, led by Lu Qing and Sun Qingsheng, he was taken into a factory. During the journey, Muzai Omo also learned that the facilities here were particularly poor. It was actually just a small flour milling plant. This factory only has a dozen or so employees, including some elderly women. Soon they entered an office. Lu Qing knocked on the door, and soon a hoarse voice came from inside. Enter. Then Lu Qing and Sun Duosheng led Muzai Omo inside. This office was particularly dilapidated. The plaster on the floor had cracked. Meanwhile, behind a table sat a man wearing a black leather jacket and sporting a buzz cut. Judging from his appearance, he doesn't seem like a good person. Upon entering the room, both Lu Qing and Sun Duosheng adopted serious expressions. Brother Chen, we've brought the person. The two men were standing ramrod straight, and it was obvious without even thinking that one of them was a member of the leadership team. Oh, Chen Hu turned his gaze to Muzai Omo. Looking at this cross-eyed, uneven-shouldered, and oddly-looking fool, he chuckled. Okay, where did you find him? Chen Hu did not suspect anything when he saw Muzai Omo. This person doesn't seem very bright. My brother and I found her at the flea market. He is getting married. Chen Hu stood up and looked at Muzai Omo curiously. He asked, Idiot, what's your name? I'm not stupid. As she spoke, a drool dripped from the corner of Muzai Omo's mouth. Chen Hu looked disgusted. He drools while talking, and he still says he's not stupid. Muzai Omo straightened her chest and said, My name is Li Erniu. When I was little, I often slept with cows. As she spoke, Muzai Omo punched Lu Qing. Didn't you say you'd take me to find a wife? Where's my wife who can herd sheep? Holy crap. Lu Qing was completely bewildered. Why did he get punched again? Lu Qing was immediately enraged and wanted to teach Muzai Omo a lesson. At this moment, Chen Hu waved for him to stop, saying impatiently, Why are you arguing with an idiot? How much strength can an idiot have? He then turned his gaze to Muzayomo. Ernio, do you want a wife? Right. Muzayomo chuckled and nodded. Just then, Chenhu punched Muzayomo in the stomach. He used tremendous force, and immediately Muzayomo felt his stomach churning violently, the pain making him grimace. He rolled up his sleeves and punched Chenhu. What are you doing? Why are you hitting me? I came here to earn money to get married, not to be beaten. Holy crap. Actually, Chenhu wanted to test whether Muzayomo was truly naive or just pretending, given their extremely special identities. We need to be on guard, but it seems there are no problems. Chenhu turned his gaze to Sun Duosheng and said, all right, let him do some work first. The lab isn't ready yet, just lock him up tonight. Okay. Sun Duosheng nodded without giving it much thought. She turned to look at Muzayomo. Silly. No, Ernio, come on, I'll take you to work, okay? If we earn money, you can get married. Okay, Muzayomo patted his chest. I'm strong and obedient. My mother said that being strong makes money, and with money I can marry a wife who can herd sheep. Yes, let's go. Soon Sun Duosheng took Muzayomo and left. Then they took him into a workshop. There were several workers in the workshop at that moment. After walking over, Sun Duosheng clapped his hands and said, everyone, listen up. I have something to tell you. Today we have a fool here. Don't bully him. He's our guinea pig. Just let the idiot do the work for you. Muzayomo punched him in the face. You're the idiot. Your whole family are idiots. I have a name. I'm called Li Ernio. I'm not an idiot. After taking a punch from Muzayomo, Sun Duosheng immediately felt dizzy. Damn, how can this idiot be so strong? I'm not stupid. Okay, no. Sun Duosheng felt like he had many little stars in his head. He said, all right, let's get to work. He appeared to be a foreman here, but he didn't do any work and left quickly. Muzayomo turned her attention to the others. The others didn't pay much attention to him, but Muzayomo noticed that many people here seemed to have something hanging from their waists. It was covered by clothes, but you could still tell. The weapons are so sophisticated. Just as Muzayomo was deep in thought, a dark-skinned man wearing a vest said, Idiot, you just carry the wheat from warehouse A to warehouse B, understand? Upon hearing this, Muzayomo chuckled and said, what the hell is A? Dark-skinned man. Forgot he's an idiot. How could an idiot know the English alphabet? Then he said, that's the logo. He pointed to the A sign on the wall and then continued. We're in B, you carry the wheat from warehouse A to gate number 2 in warehouse B, understand? Muzayomo nodded. Got it, I'm a complete idiot, right? Yeah, you're an idiot. Chapter 251, A Fool Poses No Threat to Them. And so Muzayomo spent the whole day carrying wheat. Although I've lost a lot of weight, my strength hasn't changed much. The tonic I drank last year is working. Even after carrying things all day, I wasn't very tired. There is a canteen here, but the food isn't very good. It's just plain boiled cabbage. There was also some rice, steamed buns, and the like. After the system checked the food and confirmed that it was free of poison, Muzayomo wolfed it down. Because he acted so convincingly, no one suspected him. At this moment, someone said, Idiot, eat slowly, no one's going to take it from you. Muzayomo rolled her eyes at him. Are you stupid? If you don't eat the food, the cow at home will steal it. My cow often steals my food. Hee, oh right, I'm so stupid. Muzayomo ignored him. It was already past 8 p.m. Far from the city and surrounded by desolation, the small processing plant is illuminated by only a few lights. Before long, everyone had finished their meal. At the same time, Sun Duosheng also came over. Idiot, it's late already. Come on, let's go back to the dorm and sleep. No sooner had he finished speaking than Lu Qing, who was not far behind him, shouted, Brother, don't forget to send food to that guy surnamed Mew. I've already put something in the food. He's definitely not having a good time tonight. I know, this is so annoying. Why don't we just kill that guy? I really don't understand why the boss is keeping him around. Sun Duosheng looked impatient, while Muzayomo was taken aback. The person surnamed Mew he mentioned must be Mew Changle. I want to go too. Muzayomo suddenly hugged Sun Duosheng's leg. This scene left Sun Duosheng somewhat bewildered, and he looked at Muzayomo with a puzzled expression. Muzayomo said, I used to feed cattle a lot when I was in my hometown. Don't worry about it, I'll definitely be able to feed them well. Feeding the cows? Sun Duosheng chuckled and nodded. Okay, then you'll come with me later. Sun Duosheng didn't think much of it, thinking he was just a fool. Soon, Lu Qing gave him a meal. There was even a fried egg inside. Muzayomo was taken aback, her brows furrowing. I just heard what Lu Qing said. There must be something unusual in this meal. See if you can see Mu Changle, but make sure he doesn't eat anything inside. Mu Ziomo was sitting under the eaves looking at the stars when Sun Duosheng said after she finished tidying up, "Come on, you silly girl. I'll take you to feed the cows, ha ha ha." Upon hearing his voice, Mu Ziomo immediately stood up. He followed Sun Duosheng, drooling and eager to please. Sun Duosheng didn't think much of it. He figured he might as well take a fool with him. Anyway, he'll be finished in a few days. However, this fool is indeed capable of doing the work. In the southeast corner of the processing plant, there is a wooden lid. Open the wooden cover, and you'll find a ladder leading to the underground. You idiot, be careful. Don't fall when you go down the ladder. Hee hee, I often climb down the ladder at home. I'm really good at it. That's good, that's good. Mu Ziomo took a deep breath. To be honest, this Sun Duosheng was quite easy to talk to. But everyone here must be on the death row. Sun Duosheng climbed down the ladder first, followed closely by Mu Ziomo. After getting off, Sun Duosheng took out a small flashlight from his pocket and shone it on the dark road ahead. The walls here are all made of mud, and the further you go in, the damper the ground becomes. Soon, as you walk around, the underground area gradually transforms into a series of small warehouses. The ground had turned to lime. After walking so far, if I remember correctly, the area above should be the outside of the flour mill. That way, when Mu Changle tries to escape, it will be especially easy for him to do so. He looked up and saw that there were many small gaps around him for ventilation. Finally, he stopped next to an iron gate. "Fool, take the food and flashlight, I'll open the door." Mu Ziomo didn't think much of it and simply took the food from his hand. Soon, with a creak, the iron gate opened. "Hey Mu, time to eat." Sun Duosheng took the flashlight from Mu Ziomo and shone it on a person wearing a white shirt who was disheveled. That's right, this person is Mu Changle. When the light shone on his face, Mu Ziomo recognized him at a glance. At this moment, Mu Changle had many injuries. His white shirt was torn and covered in blood. There was some dry grass on the ground, as well as a lot of rice, steamed buns, and other things. It seems the people here have already brought him food once. However, Mu Changle resisted fiercely and didn't eat any. "Fool, give him the food." "Heh, okay, Tilda." Mu Ziomo chuckled. At that moment, Mu Changle, who was slumped on the ground, suddenly felt that the voice was very familiar. He unconsciously focused his gaze on Mu Ziomo, because Mu Ziomo was so close that the flashlight beam shone directly on his cheek. Although Mu Ziomo had changed a lot and looked particularly simple-minded, he recognized her at a glance. His eyes were filled with shock, but as a criminal investigator, he knew how to control his emotions. Mu Changle showed no reaction, while Mu Ziomo stared at the food in her hand and gently shook her head. Mu Changle understood what he meant. Mu Ziomo means, "This food is inedible." Sun Duosheng behind him sneered. "You surnamed Mu, you killed our big brother. I don't know why Brother Chen spared you. If it were me, you would have died 800 times over. This meal was specially prepared for you by Chen Hu. We're going to treat you well. Hurry up and eat, otherwise your body won't be able to hold on for more than a few days." "Fool, let's go, let's not stay here." After saying that, Sun Duosheng turned and left. To avoid being exposed, Mu Ziomo remained silent. At this moment, he finally felt relieved. As long as Mu Changle is all right and still alive, that's good. During the day today, the drone recorded the location information here using GPS and cameras. Tonight, he can quietly send these clues to the police station. They will be rescued soon. After leaving, Sun Duosheng led Mu Ziomo into a room. The room contained many old double beds, and there were 7 or 8 people inside, smoking and bragging. What they said was indescribable. These people did not become any more restrained because of his joining. After all, a fool poses no threat to them. Chapter 252, Holy crap, what the hell is this? Fool, from now on you'll be sleeping in this bed, understand? Sun Duosheng pointed to one of the beds and Mu Ziomo looked at it. This bed was hard to describe. The bedding and sheets were extremely dirty, covered in oil stains, and the pillows in particular were yellowed and even had a slight odor. It was extremely disgusting. Of course, Mu Ziomo is not a germaphobe. Even if it exists, we can only endure it. Mu Ziomo said, "Okay, but this bed is so small, where will my wife sleep?" "Your wife?" Sun Duosheng couldn't help but laugh. "Your wife? Your wife hasn't come over yet. You'll be able to see your wife in a few days, haha. I want someone who knows how to herd sheep." "Okay, so you know how to herd sheep, and you're 1.7 meters tall, right?" "Yeah, heh. Mu Ziomo chuckled foolishly. Sun Duosheng ignored him and turned his attention to the crowd. He said, All right, everyone, get some sleep. There's another deal at Lion Port tomorrow. I wonder if we can catch a few this time. Get some sleep so you'll have plenty of energy for work tomorrow. After saying that, Sun Duosheng left first. It seems he won't be staying here. Mu Omo sat lazily on the bed, feeling particularly disgusted. Damn it, I have to take a dozen showers when I get back. Otherwise, I won't dare to sleep with Mu Baining. Thinking of this, Mu Omo's expression suddenly changed. I wonder how Mu Baining is doing now. I don't know what my dad said, but after all, the child was just born, and he, as her husband and father, wasn't by her side, which was indeed a bit unreasonable. He sighed and lay down on the bed. These are bunk beds. At this moment, the person in the upper bunk stuck their head out and teased Mu Omo. Silly boy, where did you come from? How old are you? This was a bald man who looked to be in his early 20s, with a cheeky grin on his face. Mu Omo replied, My name is Li Erniu. I'm strong and hardworking. My mother said that if I'm obedient and work hard, I can earn money to get married. The person in the upper bunk, well, how did asking him where he's from and how old he is lead to the topic of getting married? Is he stupid? No, he was always stupid, because no one like him had ever been here before. He was extremely curious about him. The person in the upper bunk continued to joke. Silly boy, I'm asking you how old you are this year and where you're from. Oh, Mu Omo said with a silly smile. I am 8 years old this year from Yangtze village. My family herds sheep. I am strong and good at work. My mother said that if I am obedient and work hard, I can earn money to get married and marry a wife who can herd sheep. The man above darkened his face. How desperate was he to get married? Besides, what kind of wife could a fool possibly get? Just then, Mu Omo asked innocently, What kind of deal was that bamboo pole talking about? Was it a deal to get married? The person in the upper bunk was taken aback by Mu Omo's words. Good heavens, Mu Omo was comparing Sun Duosheng to a bamboo pole. Even a fool can use his brain sometimes. He replied, Fool, what's on your mind all you think about? I'm telling you that's not your wife. We're going to Lion Port to trade ice. All right, that's enough. At that moment, the person on the other bed shouted loudly. The person in the bunk above Mu Omo immediately shut his mouth and dared not say anything more. Lion Port. Mu Omo muttered to herself. Believe it or not, he actually went there when he was a child. Lianyungang is a coastal prefecture-level city in Jiangsu province, and it's quite large. There are many ports over there, including one called Lianyungang. It seems to be quite large. In any case, this matter needs to be reported. If they leave for Lianyungang port tomorrow, there should be very few people left here. If we want to escape then, it shouldn't be a big problem. However, Mu Omo still had one unresolved issue at this time. That's what they call an experiment. Many people whispered about him during the day, saying he was some kind of experiment, and that the people here thought he was an idiot, so they didn't deliberately keep their voices down. Based on what he learned that day, Mu Omo felt that this was a D-grade manufacturing base disguised as a flour processing plant. There must be a laboratory inside. Product D is something that ordinary people simply cannot make, so there must be someone here with exceptional chemistry skills. Based on his observations throughout the day, there seemed to be only 11 or 12 people here. The man with the buzz cut, known as Brother Chen, the fat man and the thin man who brought him here today, Chef Wang from the cafeteria, and the person he sleeps with. Of course, there are still people in the lab. He was only able to move around in a limited area today, and didn't know much about the situation here. Oh, right, drones. Mu Omo suddenly remembered that there was also a drone. Today, drones should be able to scan the area from above and create a map of the place. He closed his eyes and activated the system. Then, a floor plan of this flour processing plant was displayed in front of him. Others cannot see the system, so Mu Omo simply pretended to be asleep. The floor plan shows that the flour processing plant is approximately a 100x 150-meter area, which is neither very large nor very small. There are 3 warehouses, a small office building, and a kitchen here. His dormitory is currently on the 2nd floor of the office building. Of course, the highest it can be is 2 stories. There's another underground passage. Could the laboratory be in that passage? Actually, the passage below is quite long. I wonder what else is hidden down there. Never mind, tomorrow is a good opportunity anyway. It's not too late to find a lab after we've won over everyone here. At this point, the system can be used to send this message to the criminal investigation team. It turns out that Mu Omo also wanted to send it via her mobile phone. However, it seems unnecessary now. Through the system, Mu Omo directly sent the current coordinates, location, this floor plan, and the estimated number of people here to the 1st Criminal Investigation Brigade of Shanghai. The message read, Captain Mu is in good condition now. Tomorrow, the drug trafficking gang will go to Lianyungang port for a transaction, and it is expected that some people will leave here. Tomorrow is the perfect opportunity to rescue Mu Changle, so please prepare well. After successfully sending the message, Mu Omo took a deep breath. Then he remembered that the system had also given him some daily necessities. Upon opening the system's warehouse, Mu Omo was stunned by the series of items displayed inside. AK-47, Desert Eagle pistol, a grenade, smoke bomb, gas mask. Holy crap, what are these things? This. Chapter 253 Clues, provided by Mu Omo. Meanwhile, in Shanghai, at the 1st Criminal Investigation Brigade, we received an email in the police station's mailbox. Chen Liniang stared at the computer screen with a frown. He had been feeling terrible ever since what happened last night. He hasn't slept a wink since he got back last night, his goal being to find traces of the scorpion. But after searching for a whole day, including checking the crime scene, they found no clues. Even the buyer ran away. The only person they captured, who was also a scorpion, refused to cooperate with the investigation and wouldn't say a word. Chen Liniang sighed and opened the email. The email was sent from a phone number, but he recognized it immediately as Mu Omo's number. This. Upon seeing the contents of the email, Chen Liniang's pupils contracted. Is this the location of the Black Scorpion Gang? Jiangsu Province. At this moment, Chen Liniang was completely dumbfounded. He never imagined that Mu Omo would be at Black Scorpion's headquarters. How did he get there? Furthermore, this information can be sent via email. This was no small matter, so Chen Liniang immediately stood up and rushed into the director's office. Chief, I received an email with Black Scorpion's current location, and it also says, Captain Mu is currently in good condition. Upon hearing this, Fang Yeyazu, the director of the 1st Criminal Investigation Brigade, suddenly raised his head. His eyes were also filled with disbelief. What? Real? Chen Liniang's expression turned serious. This email was sent by Mu Changle's son-in-law, Mu Omo. You've met Mu Omo, director. He's visited our bureau several times before. Fang Yeyazu nodded. Indeed, he had met Mu Omo before. On one occasion, Mu Changle even took Mu Omo to have a meal with him. He also had a very good impression of Mu Omo. Mu Omo. How did he find Black Scorpion's headquarters? I don't know either. He also sent some pictures. Director, please come and take a look. Fang Yeyazu followed Chen Liniang directly to the computer. I took a quick look at the photos. They included a floor plan showing the warehouse, kitchen, living quarters, and the general location where Mu Changle was being held. There are even many aerial views. Fang Yeyazu murmured, Are they going to Lianyungang port to make a deal tomorrow? Mu Omo even knows this. He asked Chen Liniang, Have you tried contacting Mu Omo? No, Chen Liniang shook his head. I feel that he is currently at Black Scorpion's headquarters. Although I don't know how he got there, contacting him at this time might pose an unnecessary danger to him. Fang Yeyazu nodded, his expression turning serious. He said, This matter should be true. Pull up a map and see what this place is for. Then call a meeting later and we'll discuss the corresponding policies. Yes. Chen Liniang quickly checked the map to locate the place. He said, Chief, this is a flour processing plant. Flour processing plant. Upon hearing Chen Liniang's words, Fang Yeyazu thought about it carefully and then said, Okay, I understand. Call everyone over and let's start the meeting now. Yes. The next day, Mu Omo woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's no place to wash up here, not even a tap. The environment was exceptionally bad, but of course, it didn't matter to him given his current status. What's the point of washing your face or brushing your teeth if you're an idiot? Stretching and rubbing his eyes, Mu Omo stood up and before everyone was fully awake, opened the door and went downstairs. The sun had already risen, and Chef Wang was picking vegetables to prepare breakfast. Seeing Mu Omo up so early, Chef Wang exclaimed, Hey, you idiot, up so early. You're the fool. My name is Li Erniu, and I'm getting married. Are you stupid? Getting up so early? Let me tell you, only an idiot would get up that early. Chef Wang, how did this child grow up to be so big? Mu Omo's acting was really good. Not only was her tone naive, but her movements were also silly. All right, you idiot, go wander around. I'll call you for dinner later. My name is Lee Erniu, and I'm not stupid. After saying that, Mu Omo ignored them. The people here really didn't manage him well, and they hadn't even questioned his identity. He then began to wander around the area without any restraint. The area is deserted, so it wouldn't be very discreet if the criminal investigation team came. However, they must have their own methods. After wandering around for a while, I noticed that everyone here had gotten up. It was time for breakfast. Breakfast consisted of boiled vegetables, some steamed buns, and pickled vegetables. The main problem is that it's not easy to buy groceries here, and each of them has a special status, making it inconvenient for them to come into the city. After finishing their meal, everyone got ready. There are several black vans here. Although it has a license plate, it is clearly fake. Today we're going to... As soon as Lu Qing opened his mouth, he turned his gaze to the simple-minded Mu Omo. Then he turned to Sun Duosheng and said impatiently, "What's that idiot doing here? What? You want him to come with us? Where did you leave the idiot? Send him to the lab and have Zhao Liu give him a sedative injection. The boss said that after the transaction is completed today, we can start human experiments. Let him get a good night's sleep now, and we'll start the experiments tomorrow." "Okay." Sun Duosheng nodded, then walked over to Mu Omo and gently patted his shoulder. "Come on, you fool, I'll take you somewhere." Where are we going?" Mu Omo didn't want to leave at all. At this moment he pouted, looking like a wronged child. "Sun Duosheng, I'll take you to find a wife. I'm telling you I can herd sheep, and my 1.7-meter tall wife has already come. I'll take you to find a wife right now, okay?" "Heh, wife, I'm going to have a wife." Mu Omo grinned foolishly. Upon seeing this, Sun Duosheng grinned. "You're still calling me your wife? Once the experiment is over, I'll dig a hole and bury you. Someone like you, and you still want a wife." Sun Duosheng led Mu Omo to the basement from yesterday. Just as he expected, the laboratory was right here. After getting off, he didn't lead Mu Omo in the direction they had gone yesterday, but instead walked in the opposite direction. Finally, it stopped in front of a very secluded door. There was practically no way to see a door. After arriving here, Sun Duosheng whistled a particularly strange tune. It's like some kind of secret code. Then the door slowly opened. "P.S. Please give me some flowers, small gifts, and a 5-star review. I'd be so grateful." Chapter 254, I can shoot you right now. Zhao Han, this is the test subject for our human experiment. We have a mission today, so I'll leave it with you for now. Give him a sedative and let him sleep. If nothing goes wrong, our experiment can begin tomorrow. When the door opened, a college student who looked to be in his 20s, wearing a white coat and a mask, came into his view. Upon hearing Sun Duosheng's words, the person called Zhao Han nodded and turned to look at Sun Duosheng. Liu Han said, "This, brother, he heard everything." "It's nothing." Sun Duosheng waved his hand. "He's just a simpleton, very obedient, not aggressive at all. I have to go on a mission, just give him an injection." Sun Duosheng turned his gaze to Mu Omo and then spoke to her. "Silly boy, just play here for a while, and you'll see your wife soon, understand?" "Hadahahab's okay." Mu Omo nodded excitedly. "Wife, I finally have a wife. My mom will soon be able to hold her grandson, hee. Sun Duosheng ignored him and said to Liu Han, "Then I'll go back first. I'll be leaving in about 10 minutes and won't be back until 9 o'clock tonight. If you're hungry, go to the canteen to eat. Of course, 4 brothers will stay here." "Okay," Liu Han nodded slowly, then continued. "Then, my parents. Your parents are doing well now, don't worry." He patted Liu Han on the shoulder and quickly left. After he left, the door behind him slowly closed. Mu Omo frowned deeply. His parents. What does this mean? He shook his head, not thinking much of it. Liu Han ignored him, while Mu Omo wandered around the small laboratory like a fool. The laboratory has 2 rooms, but they are separated by a sturdy iron door. After observing, I found that there are surveillance cameras in the laboratory. Perhaps people outside can see what's going on inside the lab. However, after a quick look, I noticed that this surveillance camera has 4 corners. It's this corner below the surveillance camera. There are many test tubes, beakers, and bottles in the laboratory. Furthermore, there appeared to be finished D-grade products on the surrounding shelves, which were now wrapped in plastic wrap, and there were also many bags of flour on the shelves. It seems that product D was mixed with flour. Mu Omo would bang on anything that piqued his curiosity, but this person named Zhao Han never spoke to him. It looks like they're debugging something. At this moment, Mu Omo's gaze fell on a red bottle. As soon as he touched the bottle, Liu Han shouted, "Idiot, you can't touch this." He came over and grabbed Mu Omo's wrist. And then, suddenly, a needle appeared in his hand. It contains a lot of clear liquid, and they were going to stab him directly, because the surveillance footage shows that Mu did not retaliate immediately. Instead, she screamed, her eyes filled with fear, and frantically ran around. On the other side, someone was actually monitoring the situation. There were two people guarding them outside, and the two of them were monitoring the situation here, changing shifts every 2 hours. Big brother, look what's wrong with the idiot. Why is he running around in the lab? Oh, it's nothing. Liu Han is probably giving him acupuncture. Is it abnormal for an idiot to be scared? 2. The two didn't think much of it and continued playing their cards. Mu was now trembling and hiding in a corner. He had already figured out what had happened. There was no one else around. Liu Han was the only person in the laboratory. Fool, don't run away, I'll give you a shot. You'll see your wife soon. Liu Han's eyes showed some fear, but considering that he was an idiot, he still gritted his teeth and walked over. Mu shook his head vigorously, then said, "No, I don't want a wife anymore, I don't want a wife, I'm terrified of needles, wah." He appeared very real, like a child who was afraid of getting a shot. This would also allow Liu Han to lower his guard. Seeing how scared Mu was, his worries gradually lessened. He would feel guilty if he killed an ordinary person. But a fool doesn't feel as much guilt. After all, sending him away can be seen as a form of redemption for him. As Liu Han slowly approached Mu making sure the surveillance cameras couldn't see them, Mu pulled out a silver pistol from her belt. That's right, it's the Desert Eagle. This Desert Eagle is exactly the same as those in some games. According to the system, this gun has a total of 9 bullets. He just took this gun directly from the system inventory and pointed it at Liu Han's brow. When he saw Mu suddenly pull out a gun, his pupils contracted sharply and his body stopped moving abruptly. Ding, the host's identity has been exposed, and the state of mental instability has disappeared. The system's voice suddenly appeared, and Mu was taken aback. Good heavens, has this state already disappeared? At this point, there's really no need to play dumb anymore. To be honest, it's really awkward to keep pretending to be stupid. If he keeps doing it, he'll realize he's actually stupid after a few days. Don't move. His expression suddenly turned extremely serious, and Liu Han felt a surge of fear upon seeing his gaze. Because Mu has a particularly strong aura, he definitely didn't seem like a fool. It was an inside agent who had infiltrated. Seeing that Liu Han had stopped all his movements, Mu continued, "Put the needle in your hand on the ground, and then put your hands behind your head. If you cooperate with me, you might still have a chance to turn over a new leaf. If you don't cooperate, I can shoot you right now." "No, I'll cooperate with you, I'll cooperate with you." Seeing his expression, Mu took a deep breath. Actually, he was a little flustered. After all, this was the first time he had fired a real gun. And this is in an extremely dangerous place. Liu Han slowly squatted down, and then put his hands behind his head. At the same time, he said, "Actually, I'm not one of their accomplices. I'm a PhD student in the chemistry department of Beijing University. I was tricked into coming here. They captured my parents and threatened them with their lives to force me to produce drugs for them. I didn't want to. I didn't want to." As he spoke, he suddenly burst into tears. Mu was taken aback. In fact, his first thought was that he was lying. Without responding to his words, Mu remained extremely cautious. He said, "Take your clothes off slowly. If this is true, believe me and the police, we can definitely save your parents." Chapter 255, without any hesitation, he went straight for the explosion. "Okay, I believe you." Liu Han slowly took 2 steps forward, and Mu immediately gripped the pistol in her hand. He shook his head slightly. "I was afraid the security cameras would see me, so I took 2 steps forward. Don't worry, I'll definitely cooperate. Actually, I've been wanting to run away for a while now. But if I leave, my parents will." As he spoke, Liu Han had already taken off his white coat and jeans. Mu looked up at the monitor. At this moment, Liu Han continued, "Don't worry, this monitor doesn't have a sound recording function. We're about the same size. Put my clothes on. You can go and rescue people." Mu was silent for a moment. She had to admit this guy was quite smart. However, not everything he says is necessarily true. He was standing next to Mu wearing only his underwear. After confirming that he had no weapons, Mu cautiously asked, "Where are your parents?" "Have no idea." Liu Han shook his head. "I was tricked into coming here 2 years ago. At that time, they sent me a video saying, saying that my parents had been taken into custody by them. Then they gave me an address. When I got here, they beat me up and then made me manufacture drugs for them. I had no choice but to follow the tutorials they bought from abroad and make it step by step. Upon hearing his words, Mu continued. What's your name? Where are you from? Why didn't you call the police back then? My name is Liu Han. I'm from Uyghur and I'm a southerner. Why didn't I call the police? Because I was too anxious at the time. My father has high blood pressure and diabetes. I just wanted to get them out as soon as possible. Well, as she spoke, Liu Han burst into tears. Mu pursed her lips. What this guy said was most likely true. 2 years have passed since this incident. Are his parents really alive? If I were alive, where would I be now? Mu expression wasn't very good. Don't worry, we will definitely make them give you an explanation. There happened to be a rope next to him at that moment. After noticing Mu gaze, Liu Han realized what was going on. He cooperated perfectly, allowing Mu to tie him up. Soon, Mu also put on his clothes. Because the two are of similar build, they might not be easily recognizable by surveillance cameras if they wear hats and masks. At this moment, Mu turned her attention to the surveillance camera. Then he asked, do you have a laptop? Yes, Liu Han nodded, wondering what Mu was planning to do. In the room inside, the code for this iron door is 2580. The room is full of D drugs, and the laptop is in the mezzanine on the left. Without a reply, Mu opened the door using the password Liu Han had given her. The room also had many shelves, and the shelves were filled with many flower packages. Without a doubt, it's definitely counterfeit. At the same time, Mu was also extremely shocked. My God, so much drugs, these people are definitely going to get the death penalty. He quickly found the laptop. After coming out, he stepped directly onto a chair and connected to the monitor via a USB cable. Then, using some code, they directly hacked into the monitoring system. The video currently displayed has been adjusted to resemble the one from a few days ago. Furthermore, the picture may become blurry or there may be no signal. After finishing, Mu clapped her hands. Okay, it's all done. Upon hearing Mu words, Liu Han asked with considerable curiosity, what are you making? I've changed the screen content to what it was a few days ago, so you can move it now. I hope what you just said is true. I don't know much about this place, so I need your help. Don't worry, I'll definitely help you if I can. Mu felt that he was also a pitiful guy. A chemistry PhD is actually making drugs here. In reality, his life is ruined at this point. After he gets out, his criminal responsibility may be reduced, but it's impossible for him to bear no responsibility at all. It will definitely be closed for a period of time. He focused his gaze on the large iron gate he had entered through and turned to ask, what's the password? This door is a fingerprint door, only I can open it. And there are surveillance cameras outside. It's nothing. Mu almost smiled. I've hacked all the surveillance cameras in this area and they're showing footage from 7 days ago. Even if we go out, they won't be able to see us. That's good. To be honest, Liu Han was already somewhat impressed with Mu at this point. He was very curious about how Mu had brought the gun with her. At the same time, Mu sighed. We must act quickly and rescue my father-in-law first. Suddenly, Mu remembered something and asked, by the way, are there surveillance cameras up here too? Yes, Liu Han nodded. No, the surveillance cameras here are all interconnected. If you modify the footage, then. He didn't finish his sentence, and Mu heart skipped a beat. There's no one here now. If the person watching the security camera finds that, there are still people working in the warehouse. Wouldn't that give us away? Mu face darkened. She had really been careless. It's too late to fix it now. Let's act quickly and rescue Mu Changlei first. Never mind all that. The Public Security Bureau headquarters should have already sent people over. Let's focus on rescuing them first. Mu ran directly towards Guan Muchenglei's location, with Liu Han following closely behind. When Mu arrived here, he realized, damn it, he didn't have a key. Upon arriving and seeing the situation, Liu Han said, the key. Only son Duosheng has the key here. Dad, are you there? Mu shouted. The iron gate wasn't completely sealed off. Upon hearing Mu voice, Mu Changlei quickly responded. Yes, I'm here, Yu. Dad, I'm going to use a grenade to blow this door open. Stay hidden. Mu Changlei. Liu Han's hand grenade. System, the grenade's power has been reduced for you, ensuring that it will not harm Mu Changlei when it blows open the door. Hearing the system's words, Omo finally felt relieved and took out a grenade. Then they clipped the lead wire directly to the door. Run! He shouted, and Liu Han didn't even have time to react. What the hell is going on? Without any hesitation, they just started blowing it up. Goodness, and where did he get the grenades? P.S. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival, everyone. Hee, did you eat mooncakes? Chapter 256, If I blow them up with grenades, will I be in trouble? Banged. The power of the grenade was limited, but it was still very powerful. With a loud bang, the door was blown open. Of course, apart from some stone chips that splashed onto Mu Changle, he was not injured. Mu Changle was stunned. Where did this grenade come from? The door is open. Mu Omo was overjoyed. He rushed over immediately. There was a lot of dust around, but he didn't hesitate at all. After all, Mu Changle hadn't eaten since he arrived, and he didn't know how Mu Changle was feeling. Dad, are you all right? Meanwhile, above. Boom! A tremor came from the ground, startling Chen Wei and Su Lei, who were playing cards. Chen Wei, whose face was covered in notes, jumped in surprise, looking completely bewildered. What's going on? Was it an earthquake? Are you stupid? Su Lei rolled his eyes and then said, We're not in an earthquake zone, but check the surveillance footage. At this moment, he realized that something might be wrong and quickly spoke up to see. After seeing the surveillance footage, I was relieved to find that everything was normal. There's nothing seriously wrong, just the signal is a bit unstable, and the picture gets blurry from time to time. It's all right, come on. Let's continue playing cards. Chen Wei, whose face was covered with notes, sighed and continued. It's so nice to live a carefree life now and we don't have to go on missions. But I've been away for 6 years now and I really miss my wife. Su Lei, I won't do that. My parents died early. After 2 more years, I plan to go abroad and marry a foreign woman. It's too unsafe to stay here. Take me with you then. The boss said he can help us get green cards from some small countries. Okay, let's go together. Just then, Chen Wei, whose face was covered with notes, glanced at the monitor screen. On the monitor screen, he was diligently carrying flour and working. Meanwhile, old Su, who was standing next to him, was secretly hiding in a corner and smoking a cigarette. Old Su, why are you still sneaking around smoking? You're not even doing your job properly. Su Lei was slightly taken aback upon hearing this. Holy crap, the surveillance cameras had actually captured him. Flour is just a mixture. How much money can you make selling flour? You still have to buy D products. Right. Just then, Su Lei suddenly realized that something was wrong. They're clearly watching the security camera footage, not the recording. There are 2 people in the room, so how could they be on the camera? Holy crap, something's wrong. Chen Wei was startled by Su Lei's greeting. He said, Why are you so startled? Hurry up and play your cards. I'm telling you, I'm sure I can win this round first. Run away, my foot. Su Lei rolled his eyes. You're right here. How did you end up in the security camera footage? Isn't this our recording from last week? Oh, right. He then realized what was happening and continued. Here's the problem. Did you accidentally switch to the recording function? Are you stupid? Hurry up and grab the equipment. Let's go check out the basement. Chen Wei, I'm not stupid. The stupid ones are in the basement. I'm fine. At this time, Mu Changlei's body was fine, except for being a little weak. He looked at Liu Han and asked, And this gentleman is? Dad, we'll talk about this later. The most important thing right now is to get out of here. I blew the door open with a grenade. They must have already found out. Mu Changle nodded, and at the same time, Mu Omo pulled out another Desert Eagle from her waist. Liu Han was completely dumbfounded when he saw Mu Omo pull out another gun. Is he some kind of magician? He just pulled out another gun like that. He clearly remembered that he only had one gun. Could it have gotten stuck to my skin? That's awesome. Omo, where did you get this gun? Mu Omo's answer to Mu Changlei's question was quite relaxed. They found it. It must be a weapon belonging to someone here. Mu Changle was completely dumbfounded. Is it possible to find a gun? That's incredibly awesome. Dad, let's not worry about that now. Let's get out of here first. If I'm not mistaken, there are only 4 people guarding this place now. They should have already come looking for us. Taking a deep breath, Mu Omo leaned against a corner, gun in hand. It's unlikely that we can force our way out, but there's a certain thickness of ground above us, so we don't know if a grenade can break through it. The main problem is that there's no place here to block the grenade. Just then, Chen Wei and Su Lei came down. Oh no, Guan Muchinglei's cell door is open. Let's go check it out. Inside the cell, Mu Omo could already hear 2 voices. Because their cell had been blown open, The two of them were being extra cautious. Holding a submachine gun, he slowly approached. At this moment, Mu took out another grenade. The system actually provides him with an unlimited supply of grenades and firearms. There is no limit to the number. Dad. At this moment, Mu called out. Mu Changle, who was preparing for a desperate fight, was stunned. Mu continued, "If I use a grenade to kill them, will I get hurt?" Mu Changle was taken aback. What is Mu thinking? At the same time, Mu took a deep breath and bit off the safety pin of the grenade with her teeth. Then he threw it directly outside the door. Of course, he won't shout "fire in the hole," like in some games or TV shows. Tell them to be careful of grenades. "We're going to bomb you." Chen Wei and Su Lei were slowly approaching, when suddenly a small black ball was thrown at them, and it landed precisely at their feet. "Holy crap, it's a hand." Bang! Before Chen Wei could finish speaking, the grenade exploded. Even Mu who was inside the house, experienced a ringing in her ears from the grenade. This grenade was much more powerful than the one that blew up the lock just now. After a ringing in the ears, only one person's scream could be heard on the ground. Su Lei died instantly, while Chen Wei was luckier. The grenade only blew off one of his legs. He was lying on the ground screaming in agony. Mu Changle took a deep breath, never expecting Mu to be so fierce. This time, Mu Changle gripped his pistol tightly and ran out. He turned his gaze to the two people not far from the door. A person's body and face were covered in fragments of grenades. The other person wasn't much better off. His legs were blown to bits and his face was covered in shreds, but he was still alive. Of course, given his condition, he won't live much longer. Chapter 257, Liu Han, I need your help. His Tilda. Upon seeing Chen Wei struggling in pain on the ground, Mu Changle frowned deeply. Mu and Liu Han also came out. Seeing the corpse in front of her and Chen Wei struggling in pain, Mu turned her gaze to Mu Changle. "Dad, that person on the ground looks dead." Blood flowed from their bodies, and Mu could hardly believe that she had actually killed someone. Although they killed a drug trafficking gang, it's still a life. Mu Changle glanced at the corpse on the ground and said, "It's good that it's dead. People like that shouldn't live." Then Mu felt that what she did should be considered self-defense. He accidentally blew himself up with a grenade. "It's okay, Momo, it's none of your business." Mu was slightly taken aback upon hearing Mu Changle's words. "Goodness, that's absolutely right. What do you mean by murder? These two guys clearly blew themselves up because they didn't know how to use grenades." Liu Han, standing behind him, swallowed hard but remained silent. To be honest, he was terrified that the two men would turn around and shoot him dead. Even if it collapses, it won't matter much. After all, he's been making counterfeit goods for 2 years. Mu Changle turned his head. "Zyromo, you just said there were only 4 people here, but now there should only be 2 people left, right?" "That should be the case." Mu nodded seriously. "The others went to Lianyungang port to make a transaction today, leaving only a few people here." "Wrong." Mu Changle shook his head, then suddenly looked up. "There should be 2 more people." Mu was taken aback. "There are 2 more people." Mu Changle nodded. "That's right, there are 2 more people. One is Chen Hu, and the other is the leader of Black Scorpion, Hu Zhijian." "Hu Zhijian?" "Yes, that's right." At this moment, Liu Han suddenly spoke up from behind. "Hu Zhijian?" And Hu Zhijian, Chen Hu might not participate in today's mission, so Hu Zhijian and Chen Hu might be here. "Oh right, Hu Zhijian is Chef Wang from the kitchen." Mu was taken aback upon hearing Liu Han's words. "Is Hu Zhijian the head chef in the kitchen? This time, we absolutely cannot let Chen Hu and Hu Zhijian escape." Anger flashed in Mu Changle's eyes. At that moment, he spoke up. "Dad, wait a minute." Take this, it's better than the Desert Eagle." As she spoke, Mu picked up the 2 submachine guns from the ground. Then, he just threw it to Mu Changle. After taking the gun, Mu Changle examined it and said, "This gun is made in Germany. Dad, be careful. I have a feeling that someone might be lying in wait at the cave entrance." At this time, it was unknown where Chen Hu and Hu Zhijian were. Perhaps someone is lying in wait, waiting for them to come out. At this moment, Mu reached to her waist and took out a grenade. "This is the last time. If we keep taking it off like this, it will definitely be misunderstood. This is my last grenade. Dad, when we get to the entrance, I'll just throw it up there." Mu Changle nodded. "Be careful, don't let the grenade fall." "Don't worry." Nodding, Mu Ziomo looked at the azure sky and took a deep breath. Then pull the safety button, and the system will start the countdown immediately. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. That's right, this is the countdown to the grenade exploding. Seeing this, Mu Changle couldn't help but say, Ziomo, what are you doing? Throw it out quickly. Mu Ziomo narrowed her eyes when the countdown had about 1.5 seconds left. It was just thrown out. That's right, he went straight for an instant explosive grenade. Banged. The grenade exploded outside, and at the same time, the last 2 drug traffickers with guns were blown away by the instantaneous grenade. Of course, luckily they were inside the cave, so the grenade didn't have a significant impact on Mu Ziomo. Ziomo, what are you doing? Mu Changle couldn't resist the urge to come over and teach Mu Ziomo a lesson. But, after thinking about it carefully, he realized that Mu Ziomo had a lot of insights into military equipment. He's particularly good at using it. They can even count down the seconds in their minds. Mu Ziomo said softly, Dad, don't worry about me. I know what I'm doing. Moreover, there are indeed 2 people up there, waiting for the rabbit to run into the tree stump. I have to say, this system is quite mischievous. He threw the grenade, and a second after it exploded, the system gave him a 2-kill notification. It just means 2 people were killed in the explosion. After activating the system, Mu Ziomo asked, System, where are Hu Zhijian and Chen Hu now? Chen Hu is aiming at you with a sniper rifle from the southwest, which is the dormitory building. Hu Zhijian, there's a secret passage inside the big pot in the kitchen where you can escape. Are there any other living people here? System, none. Mu Ziomo was delighted to receive the system's feedback. However, we cannot go out directly yet. The threat posed by sniper rifles is not insignificant. Ziomo, there's still no movement. I'll go out and check. Mu Changle suggested, but Mu Ziomo shook her head. No. Before Mu Ziomo could finish speaking, Liu Han beside her said, We can't go out. Chen Hu has a really powerful sniper rifle. I have a feeling that Chen Hu is watching us. Hearing Liu Han's words, Mu Changle nodded. That's right, that's exactly it. Chen Hu is an extremely cunning person. Is there any way to get out? I have another smoke grenade here. Mu Ziomo whispered. Mu Changle focused his gaze on him. At this moment, Mu Ziomo pulled out a green bottle of smoke bombs directly from behind her. At this moment, Liu Han seemed to have misunderstood something. After all, he was wearing a white coat, and because it was quite dark around him, it was impossible to see what was on his waist. This smoke grenade can be used to briefly disrupt Chen Hu's vision. Mu Changle thought about it carefully. No, the opening is too small. If he has already aimed beforehand, the smoke grenade can indeed affect his vision. But what if he suddenly fires and gets hit? At this moment, Mu Ziomo turned her gaze to Liu Han. Liu Han felt a pang in his heart after noticing Mu Ziomo's gaze. He suddenly had a bad feeling. Liu Han, could you please do me a favor? No, I don't want to. Liu Han immediately chickened out. In fact, he has high expectations for the future. He is a PhD student and wants to reunite with his parents and continue his studies. Mu Changle frowned deeply. Ziomo, who is he? Chapter 258, Honey, your takeout has arrived. Mu Changle had just asked him this question, but Mu Ziomo did not answer it. After hearing Mu Changle's words, Mu Ziomo said, He is a member of the Black Scorpion gang who manufactures drugs. What? Mu Changle's pupils shrank, and Mu Ziomo quickly said, He said he was threatened by the Black Scorpion people. They kidnapped his parents and forced him to make drugs. Mu Changle was somewhat surprised that such a thing had happened. He took a deep breath. Leave the snipers outside to me. Momo, throw out the smoke grenade. Mu Ziomo nodded. Although she was a little worried, she still planned to hand it over to Mu Changle. Having been a criminal investigator for so many years, he must have some skills. Nodding, Mu Ziomo pulled the safety off the smoke grenade and threw it upwards with all her might. The smoke grenade bounced off the wooden plank and then landed precisely on the ground outside. Chen Hu, who was aiming a sniper rifle at the spot, was a little confused when he saw this. What's going on? Where did the smoke bomb come from? The smoke grenade dissipated quickly, just as the wind was still. Chen Hu's vision was obstructed by the smoke grenades. At this moment, he couldn't understand why their equipment didn't include smoke grenades at all. It's almost time. Mu Changle muttered something under his breath, then took a deep breath, gripped his gun tightly, and prepared to climb the stairs. At the same time, Mu Ziomo said, Dad, Chen Hu is behind you, which is to the southeast. Be careful. Mu Changle grunted in response, and without thinking much about it, climbed out. The smoke bomb smelled pungent, so Mu Changle turned around and took 2 steps back. There happened to be a tree nearby, so he immediately hid behind it. At the same time, Chen Hu spotted Mu Changle hiding behind a tree. His heart sank. Mu Changle had already been released. It seems that idiot must be an undercover agent here. I was careless. To be honest, he didn't think much of it when he first saw the idiot. They managed to sneak in like that, even with smoke bombs. I don't know how Chen Wei and Su Lei managed to check his things. At this moment, he knew that apart from those who went to Lianyungang port for the trade, he and Hu Zhijian might be the only ones left alive. He glanced at the kitchen, wondering if his older brother had hidden himself. After hiding behind the tree, the smoke gradually dissipated after a while. Upon seeing the 2 corpses lying on the ground, Mu Changle's heart skipped a beat. There were actually 2 people lying in wait, waiting for the rabbit to run into their trap. Fortunately, Mu Xiaomo threw a grenade, and both of them were killed. Mu Changle showed no mercy. After all, his team members had also been injured in the battle the night before. These people are capable of any evil for profit, and they deserve no pity. He peeked out slightly, and at the same time, Chen Hu, who was holding a sniper rifle in the distance, fired a shot. Bang! Because of the distance and the fact that he didn't have time to adjust his aim, the bullet hit the tree trunk directly. The positional deviation is not just a little bit. Mu Changle quickly turned his head back. To be honest, the problem was quite serious. He was in the open, while Chen Hu was in the shadows, making it impossible to attack him. Mu Xiaomo, who was underground, became anxious upon hearing the gunshot. If he were to rush out now, he could very well hold Mu Changle back. Just then, the system's voice came through. Host, a drone bomb has been prepared for you. You can control the drone with your mobile phone to give Chen Hu a gift from the sky. Mu Xiaomo was a little confused after hearing the system's voice. Dropping drone bombs. Is it that powerful? Liu Han didn't pay attention to him. Seeing this, Mu Xiaomo took out his phone from the system repository and opened the app he used to control the drone to deliver food. Sure enough, a drone was hovering 500 meters above him. Mu Xiaomo quickly connected to the drone via signal, and the view from the drone's camera was displayed in front of him. Liu Han turned his head and saw the phone in Mu Xiaomo's hand, and his heart skipped a beat. Where did this phone come from? This is outrageous. Guns, grenades, and cell phones appear out of thin air. How did you do that? Mu Xiaomo was piloting the drone towards his location when she heard Liu Han's words. She looked up and said, "This is nanotechnology." Nanotechnology. Liu Han was a little confused when he heard this term. Nanotechnology, isn't it? Something you can only see in movies. Is this technology already quite mature? That's right, but this technology is not yet mature, and its applications are limited. Liu Han was silent for a moment. It seemed that the outside world had undergone tremendous changes during the 2 years he had been deceived. Soon, Mu Xiaomo spotted Mu Changle hiding behind a tree through the drone's camera. Liu Han also came over, looking at Mu Xiaomo's phone screen and asking, "What kind of technology is this?" "It's a drone used for delivering food. I've attached a bomb to it. Now I'm going to give Chen Hu a big gift." Mu Changle looked up and discovered a drone about 50 or 60 meters above him. The moment he saw the drone, he knew it was Mu Xiaomo. What is Mu Xiaomo doing, and how is he controlling the drone? A series of questions arose in Mu Changle's mind. At this moment, Mu Xiaomo had already located Chen Hu's position using the drone's camera. He was by the window on the 2nd floor when the barrel of an M700 was exposed. At this moment, Chen Hu noticed the drone in the sky. "I have absolutely no idea what this thing is." He was taken aback when the bird flew right above him. "Dear, your takeout has arrived." Once underground, Mu Xiaomo pinpointed the location and pressed the drop button on her phone screen. At the same time, the mechanical claws that hold the bomb in place open. The bomb fell in a straight line with a whoosh. There is an infrared sensor at the bottom of the bomb. The bomb will detonate instantly upon contact with the ground. Mu Xiaomo's target this time was the rooftop, and directly below the rooftop, which would most likely be Chen Hu's location. Beep, beep, beep. The infrared sensor on the bomb beeped, and the closer it was to the roof, the higher the frequency of the beeping. Finally, at the very moment the bomb made contact with the roof, boom, bang, a loud explosion blasted through our ears. This bomb is extremely powerful, several times more powerful than a hand grenade. It even exploded and created a small mushroom cloud. The ceiling was pierced by the force, leaving a deep crater. Mu Changle saw this. My heart skipped a beat. What is this thing? Chapter 259, Being a Filial Son. At the same time, because the roof was blown open by the bomb, steel bars, concrete, and dust fell all at once. Just as Chen Hu was knocked to the ground by the strong tremor, several pieces of reinforced concrete fell down. The sharp steel bar pierced directly into his right chest. Ugh. Because of the roof's protection, the bomb didn't cause him much damage, but the steel bar. At this moment, he felt a burning pain in his chest, and he even felt as if the steel bar had pierced through his right lung. Blood began to seep from his chest, and Chen Hu's face turned deathly pale. Downstairs, Mu Omo and Liu Han climbed up one after the other. Seeing the huge hole blasted into the roof and the wall next to it, Mu Omo took a deep breath. That's great, but today, didn't they kill too many people? Mo. At this moment, Mu Changle walked out with a serious expression. He really wanted to know how Mu Omo had gotten all these things, especially this drone bomb. Generally speaking, special police officers don't have bombs with that kind of power, and if they want to use such a weapon, they need to go through a lot of procedures. Dad, are you all right? I'm fine, Mu Changle shook his head. I want to know how exactly did you do that? My dad prepared the bomb for me. Mu Omo immediately adopted the role of a dutiful son. He knew that Mu Changle would definitely ask him this question, and he had no way of answering it. After thinking it over carefully, I decided to talk to my dad and ask him to help me solve it. Which father doesn't love a filial son? Your dad? Mu Changle was taken aback. Mu Omo's father gave him a rather friendly impression, but he was a very busy man who had to answer many phone calls every day. He actually checked his father's company through certain channels. There are dozens of companies involved, covering all walks of life. This, Mu Omo nodded. That's right, it's my dad. After we received the news the night before last, my dad prepared this special gift for me to use if I encounter danger. Mu Changle didn't know how to respond to Mu Omo's question, so he continued. Then, how did you find this place? This is a long story. Let's talk about it when we get back. Mu Omo turned her gaze to the bombed-out building. I wonder how Chen Hu is doing now, Dad. Let's go in and take a look. Mu Changle hummed in agreement, and just then the roar of a car engine suddenly came from all around. Buzz! Mu Omo and Mu Changle both gripped their guns tightly, becoming alert. But what I saw were rows of black police cars. Our people have arrived. Mu Omo's eyelids twitched, and soon he saw Chen Liniang, who was in the lead. Old Mu! From a distance, Chen Liniang called out, and at the same time, he and another colleague opened the gate. Chen Liniang quickly ran to his side. Mu Omo hadn't paid attention until now, when he noticed that Mu Changle had quite a few injuries on his body. There are abrasions and bruises. Chen Liniang looked Mu Changle up and down. Captain, are you all right? You've already finished the battle. Why are you only arriving now? There's no other way, Chen Liniang sighed. We wanted to come over last night, but the higher-ups haven't approved the weapons. Our plan was simple, to intercept the people heading to Lianyungang port. Mu Changle nodded. How is it? The interception was successful. Because the incident the night before last was quite big, we sent more than 200 people this time. Hearing his words, Mu Omo noticed that there were many special police officers behind her wearing bulletproof vests and carrying real guns. Just now, Chen Liniang heard the explosion and saw the thick smoke, so he rushed over immediately. He asked Captain Mu, what's the situation now? Mu Changle glanced at Mu Omo and then said, only 6 people remain here, including Chen Hu and Hu Zhijian. Upon hearing the names Chen Hu and Hu Zhijian, Chen Liniang's pupils contracted slightly. He asked, where are they? Mu Changle looked at the spot where the bomb had just hit. Chen Hu is probably under those rubble. Hu Zhijian is still unaware, but he shouldn't be able to escape. At this moment, Chen Liniang said, Teams 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 be on guard and survey this area. Yes. Soon, the people here started to move. Chen Liniang continued, Captain, let me treat your wound first. Okay. Mu Changle did not refuse. He did have many wounds, but as a man, he didn't cry out in pain. Soon, Chen Liniang led Mu Changle and Mu Omo away from there, and Liu Han followed behind them without saying a word. Because there are hostages here, they prepared 2 ambulances. There were 20 or 30 people arriving. As the medical staff treated Mu Changle's wounds, Chen Liniang said, luckily, we had Omo. She provided us with a clue this time, otherwise we definitely wouldn't have made it here. Hearing Chen Liniang's words, Mu Changle frowned slightly and asked, what, you mean? It was Mu Omo who provided you with the clue. Chen Liniang nodded and turned his gaze to Mu Omo. Omo, how did you get here? And how did you know this location? Forehead. Mu Omo's lips twitched slightly, and he boasted in a serious tone. Actually, after receiving the call that night, I used drones and some special methods to lock onto the vehicle. Then they used a drone to attach a locator and a listening device to the car. Finally, we learned that they were coming to the flea market to find D-product test subjects. I pretended to be a fool and got in. As he spoke, he scratched his head. After hearing Mu Omo's words, Mu Changle was somewhat bewildered. Playing the fool, is that even possible? And drones, bugging devices. Mu Omo continued to play the role of a dutiful son. These methods were accomplished with my father's help. He is very skilled and ultimately risked letting me get involved here. Chen Liniang took a deep breath after hearing this. Technology is so powerful. At this moment, Mu Omo changed the subject, saying, "By the way, Dad, you saw the photos I sent you. Ningning gave birth to a very cute little baby. It's a girl, her name is Zio Ningning, Mu Yuning." Upon hearing this, Mu Changle couldn't help but smile broadly. "Little Ningning, Mu Yuning, what a nice name. Dad, you'll see her when you get back. P.S. Humble Xiaming, begging for food and flowers online tilde." Chapter 260, a slap landed on Mu Xeroxy's face. "Ha okay." These words truly resonated with Mu Changle, who was now eager to hold his granddaughter. Chen Liniang, who was standing to the side, said with a smile, "Captain, does that mean we'll be drinking your wedding wine soon?" "Absolutely." Mu Changle nodded with a smile, then turned to Mu Omo and said, "Momo, you and Ningning are already pregnant, so let's hold the wedding as soon as possible." After hearing Mu Changle's words, Mu Omo thought about it carefully. That works too. Dad, how about we hold my wedding with Ningning and the baby's 1-month celebration together?" "Sure." Mu Changle agreed without hesitation and said with a smile, "Many people do it this way now. Let's discuss this properly when we get back." It is indeed possible to combine the wedding and the full moon celebration. This way, more people will come, and you can collect 2 sets of money at the same time. Of course, Mu Omo didn't care about the money given as a gift. This thing is essentially an interest-free deposit. After treating Mu Changle's wounds, they prepared some food for him. After learning about Liu Han's basic situation, he was taken away. After all, he was a drug user, and to some extent, he was a criminal. Of course, how they will be convicted in the future is another matter entirely. About 20 minutes later, some of the police officers who had gone to investigate returned. At the crime scene, they found a total of 4 bodies, as well as Chen Hu, whose chest was pierced by a steel bar. Medical staff treated Chen Hu's wounds immediately, saving his life. After all, his survival is helpful in solving the entire case. However, the group did not find Hu Zhijian, the leader of the Black Scorpion gang. "Deputy Captain, we've found 4 bodies in total. Chen Hu has also been found. He's currently unconscious. We'll take him to the hospital later. However, we haven't found Hu Zhijian." A criminal investigator came over and explained the basic situation to Chen Liniang. After hearing his explanation, Chen Liniang took a deep breath and then said, "Question, Hu Zhijian hasn't run away, has he?" "Won't he?" At this moment, Mu Omo suddenly interjected. Hearing his words, Mu Changle asked curiously, "How do you know he won't run away?" "Dad, there doesn't seem to be a second exit from here. I guess he must be hiding somewhere. How about I take you there to find him?" Seeing Mu Omo's confident demeanor, Mu Changle nodded. "I'll go with you." Chen Liniang suggested it, and Mu Changle did not refuse. Soon, the group of them got out of the car together. Led by Mu Omo, they entered the kitchen. The kitchen had already been inspected. There were still many vegetables and noodles on the floor. Seeing the surrounding scene, Mu Changle couldn't help but ask, "Momo, you're saying Hu Zhijian is hiding here?" "Yes," Mu Omo nodded slowly. "It's inside this big pot. There should be a secret passage underneath, but it's not open." Mu Changle was a little confused. How did Mu Omo know so much? Good heavens, this guy. As he spoke, Mu Changle tried to crawl into the large pot where the fire was burning. "Be careful, Dad. He might have a weapon on him," Mu Omo suggested, and Mu Changle nodded in agreement. He took out the Desert Eagle pistol that Mu Omo had given him before. Seeing this, Chen Liniang remained silent. At the same time, just in case, 2 special police officers carrying Type 95 military rifles arrived. Lifting the pot lid revealed, just as Mu Omo had said, a metal plate inside leading to a hidden passage. Mu Changlei did not hesitate and directly lifted the iron plate. However, he did not jump down immediately. Instead, he shouted, "Hu Zhejian, you're surrounded now. I advise you to come up here, otherwise I'm going to throw grenades in." "Dad, here's a grenade." Mu Omo took out a grenade from the system and handed it to Mu Changlei. Mu Changlei was taken aback. "Where did you get this grenade from?" Somewhat bewildered, he accepted it, and just then, Hu Zhejian's voice came from inside. "Don't throw grenades. I surrender, I surrender." Upon hearing the sounds from inside, the two SWAT officers behind him immediately brought their guns up and approached. Without further ado, Hu Zhejian, also known as Chef Wang who cooked for them, crawled out in a rather disheveled state. He was filthy from head to toe, and his body was all fleshy. He was a complete fat man. The moment he saw Mu Omo, his expression changed slightly. "It was this idiot. Take him under control," Mu Changlei said. Soon, two special police officers took him into custody. Of course, Hu Zhejian knew this time that he couldn't escape. He was extremely annoyed at being completely fooled by a fool, but there was nothing he could do about it at the moment. And so, Hu Zhejian, the leader of Black Scorpion, was captured. The SWAT team seized a lot of drugs and weapons. Black Scorpion and his gang will face severe legal consequences. Mom, our dad, and Momo still not finished with their work and coming back. They're not coming to see me after I'm discharged from the hospital. Inside the 3rd Maternal and Child Health Hospital, Mu Baining had some doubts. After giving birth, her body had almost fully recovered, and once it was confirmed that there were no problems, she could be discharged from the hospital and go home to recuperate. After receiving Mu Omo's message last night, Chen Liniang immediately told Li Qingru that Mu Changlei was safe, which put Li Qingru's mind at ease. At the same time, Mu Omo's father also told him that his son had gone to find Mu Changlei, but didn't say much. Mu Baining was unaware of this matter because she had just given birth and was physically weak. She was afraid that it would cause emotional distress, so she did not tell her. He simply told him that there was a case that needed to be handled recently, and Mu Omo went with him. "I've already received your dad's call. Omo, you and Dad will be coming back together tonight." "Okay, that's good." Mu Baining didn't think much of it, and just then he received a WeChat message from Mu Omo. "Honey, your dad and I are on our way back. We'll be home tonight." "Okay, be careful on the road." Mu Baining also replied with a short message. Then, with the help of Omo's parents, Li Qingru, and Mu Xiaoxi, they helped Mu Baining pack her things and complete the discharge procedures. Little Ningning is in excellent health and has a great spirit. At this time, little Ningning can already open her eyes. She looked around the world with great curiosity. Mu Xiaoxi held Mu Yuning in her arms, gently patting her bottom, and said with a smile, "Little Ningning, I'm your aunt. You have to call me aunt first, okay?" "Lei." Little Ningning made a childish voice and slapped Mu Xiaoxi across the face. Chapter 261, The Dowry is Twice the Bride Price. Mu Xiaoxi, "I told you to call me auntie, not to hit me." Seeing the adorable Mu Yuning looking on with such longing eyes, Mu Xiaoxi chose to endure it. After all, children don't know any better. "Oh well, this aunt is magnanimous and won't stoop to the level of a little kid like you." After slapping Mu Xiaoxi across the face, Mu Yuning immediately broke into a broad smile. They were overjoyed. Mu Xiaoxi. Soon, both sets of parents packed their things and prepared to leave the hospital. Meanwhile, Mu Omo had already been brought over by the police, along with Mu Changlei. However, they couldn't go home at this time. Instead, they had to give their statements at the police station. Furthermore, he killed several people in this operation, but of course it wasn't intentional. Everything he did was to survive. Although I won't be going inside, the procedures I need to go through are extremely complicated. Mu Changlei, fearing something might happen to Mu Omo, stayed by his side the whole time. They didn't leave the police station until 6 p.m. At this moment, Mu Changlei and Mu Omo had both changed into new clothes. Mu Changlei didn't have many wounds on his face. Most of them were on his body. This way, he wouldn't be discovered when he met Mu Baining later. "Dad, let's go home." Mu Changlei nodded, drove his car, and took Mu Omo away from there. They have been staying at Mu Omo's house recently, which is Shanghai No. 1 Courtyard. It was already 6:30 when I got back to Shanghai No. 1 Courtyard. During the journey, Mu Omo told Mu Changlei in detail what had happened yesterday and today. At first, Mu Omo thought she would be staying with Black Scorpion for a few days. Unexpectedly, it coincided with their second transaction, which brought forward the rescue of Mu Changlei. Dad, look, Zio Ningning has been born. Are you going to resign and retire? The Black Scorpion incident was a close call, but if Mu Changlei continues as a criminal investigator, there will still be some danger. He hoped that Mu Changlei could retire and stay home to help him and Ningning take care of their child, watching Mu Yuning grow up. Upon hearing this, Mu Changlei nodded and said, "Yes, don't worry. After this case is over, I'll resign. It just so happens that my old bones are no longer suitable to be a criminal police officer. From now on, my job is to babysit your kids, ha." Hearing Mu Changlei's words, Mu Ziomo chuckled and said, "Okay, from now on, Ningning will be in your care, Dad." Mu Changlei, then, when are you going to have Ningning give me another grandson? I can hold one in each arm, ha. Mu Ziomo was a little confused. This little Ningning was only born 2 days ago, and you're already asking Ningning to have another one. Goodness. A second child will definitely take some time, maybe next year, Dad. Okay. The two returned home chatting and laughing. When they opened the door, Li Qingru and his mother, Su Tang, were cooking in the kitchen. After Mu Zioxi came over, she was sitting on the sofa, looking at Zio Ningning in the stroller. Mu Baining and her father, Mu Chen, sat on the sofa watching TV. Upon hearing the door open, Mu Zioxi was the first to spot them. "Hey, brother, you're back." Mu Zioxi couldn't help but come closer, and with a leap, she jumped right into his arms. Mu Ziomo wasn't surprised by this scene. His sister had always been like this. "Dad, you're finally back." Mu Baining couldn't help but stand up. Mu Changlei knew that Mu Baining didn't know where he had been, so he chuckled and said, "Sorry, honey, I've been too busy lately. There's nothing I can do." "Fine." Mu Baining shook her head. "Dad, you haven't met Zio Ningning yet. Come and take a look." As she spoke, Mu Baining brought Mu Changlei to Zio Ningning. At this moment, Zio Ningning was staring at the ceiling with her eyes open, looking particularly mischievous. At this moment, Mu Zioxi said, "Uncle, Zio Ningning is so naughty. Just now when I hugged her, she slapped me in the face. You can pick her up and try it." Mu Changlei couldn't help but laugh, and then picked up Zio Ningning. Little Ningning opened her toothless mouth, chuckled, and then, just as Mu Zioxi had said, slapped Mu Changlei across the face. Then he burst into laughter again. Mu Changlei was taken aback. This was exactly the same as what his niece had said. Seeing this, Mu Ziomo, who was not far away, couldn't help but smile, but didn't pay much attention to it and returned to Mu Baining's side. "How are you, Ningning? Are you feeling all right now?" Mu Baining hummed in agreement. "I'm fine, but you've been gone for almost 2 days and haven't replied to my messages." "I was held up by something, don't worry. I'll stay with you for the rest of the time." "Okay, Tilda." Mu Baining nodded heavily. At this moment, Mu Ziomo wanted to say something, but didn't say it. To be honest, he hasn't proposed to Mu Baining yet. Even though we have children now, we still need to maintain the proper sense of ritual. "I'll help with the cooking. We'll keep our meals light today, okay?" "Can." Mu Baining knew that she was in postpartum confinement and couldn't eat too much oily food. At this moment, Li Qingru had already come out. Seeing that Mu Changlei was all right, she didn't say anything more. As long as people are healthy, that's all that matters. After Mu Ziomo entered the kitchen, he started cooking for his mother. His mother knew what he was doing, but she didn't ask any questions. "I've been telling Mu Ziomo that we need to go out tomorrow to get the child's ID card and household registration. Because she was born in Shanghai, and he owns a house in Shanghai, and Mu Baining is a local resident of Shanghai. They plan to register their child's household registration directly in Shanghai. From now on, Zio Ningning will be a true Shanghainese. The educational resources here are not a problem." Just then Mom asked, "Momo, have you two decided when to get married?" Mu Ziomo nodded. "I just mentioned this to Ningning's dad when I got back today. We're planning to hold the wedding and the baby's 1-month celebration together." "Really?" Mom was quite happy to hear the news, and seeing her mother's expression, Mu Ziomo smiled and nodded. "Of course it's true. We can discuss it during dinner later." "Okay." I nodded, and my mother didn't say anything more. A wedding is a big event for 2 people, so it really needs to be discussed carefully. Just then Mu Ziomo suddenly thought of something. "Mom, you'd better prepare the bride price for Ningning carefully. Ningning said that the dowry will be twice the amount of the bride price." Chapter 262, a bride price of at least 10 million is necessary. My mother was a little confused. Had Mu Baining mentioned this? Seeing Mu Ziomo's grinning face, Mom rolled her eyes and said, "Ask your dad for the bride price. I don't have any money." At this moment, Muzai almost said mischievously, "Mom, you're not good at managing Dad. Isn't it normal for wives to manage the money in the family? How come you don't have any money? Is this all there is to family status?" At this moment, a lot of question marks suddenly appeared above my mother's head. How can Muzai Omo talk like that? Seeing her mother's somewhat angry expression, Muzai Omo quickly shut her mouth. He was still quite afraid of his mother getting angry. Without much thought, Muzai Omo started cooking with her mother. After a while, Lee Kingru also came over. He had already finished catching up with Mu Changle, and Mu Zaya Omo didn't leave the kitchen anymore. After all, he was a great chef, and now that he had been with Ningning for so long, he knew Ningning's tastes very well. The meal took more than an hour to prepare, and it wasn't served until 8 p.m. After Mu Changle returned, he held Zio Ningning tightly and didn't let go at all. After all, the trend of grandparents showing affection to their grandchildren is popular in this day and age. When the food was served on the table, everyone gathered around. Mu Changle reluctantly placed Zio Ningning in the stroller. Babies usually like to sleep, and perhaps because she was too comfortable in Mu Changle's arms, Zio Ningning had already closed her eyes and fallen asleep. Mu Xiroxy sat down next to Mu Ziomo, as did Mu Baining. The four parents casually found a place to sit down, and Mu Ziomo immediately focused her attention on Mu Baining, staring intently at her. Mu Baining, who was standing to the side, had already noticed his gaze. Mu Baining couldn't help but say, "Momo, what are you looking at? Why are you staring at my face?" At this moment, Mu Zioxy interjected, "Sister-in-law, my brother has missed you all day. He really wants to kiss you right now." "Zai, what nonsense are you talking about?" Mu Ziomo rolled her eyes, then turned her gaze to Mu Zioxy and said, "I was thinking, your skin has recovered really well lately. I've seen a lot of pregnant women whose skin gets really bad after giving birth, but Ningning, you don't seem to be affected at all." "Hee, right, Tilda." Mu Baining chuckled and continued, "I've been using the skincare products you gave me back then. The skincare products you bought are really good." Snort. Just then Mu Xiroxy, who was next to Mu Ziomo, suddenly snorted. Upon hearing this, he turned his gaze to Mu Xiroxy and asked, "What's wrong, sis? What are you humming about? You buy skincare products for your sister-in-law, but not for me. Why should I buy it for you?" Mu Ziomo thought of his childhood sweetheart Zioi. "If you want it, just let your little brother Zioi buy it for you. He always buys the best. I don't know who complained that I bought you Dabao So Daimi back then." Mu Zioxy rolled her eyes. To my surprise, Mu Ziomo still remembers things from her childhood. When Mu Zioxy was little, she would run out of her moisturizing cream, and then she would often pester him to buy her face cream. At the time, Mu Ziomo was dirt poor, so he bought Dabao So Daimi for Mu Zioxy. When he gave it to her, the girl refused it outright and looked down on him. After that incident, Mu Ziomo never bought him any more skincare products. Seeing the two siblings arguing, their parents chuckled. "Why are you two still arguing like you did when you were kids?" "HMPH," Mu Xiroxy snorted again. At this moment, Mu Changle laughed and said, "Let's get down to business." He turned his gaze to Mu Ziomo and then said, "I asked Ziomo today, and she's planning to have the two children get married." Upon hearing the word wedding, Dad, younger sister, Lee Kingru, and Mu Baining all looked up. Everyone is really looking forward to this. Noticing the gazes of those around him, Mu Changle couldn't help but smile. I asked Ziomo for his opinion, and he said that the wedding would be held a month later, after the baby has turned 1 month old. Then, the wedding and the baby's full moon celebration were held together. Hearing Mu Changle's words, Mu Chen, the father, nodded. "I think it's a good idea. This will save a lot of time. Since the two children are getting married, let's talk about the bride price." Mu Changle was taken aback upon hearing Mu Chen's words. To be honest, he hadn't really thought about bride price or anything like that. He waved his hand. "A token amount for the bride price is fine, 38,000 yuan is enough, 3 jin a unit of weight, and let the child buy the diamond ring and such. I won't get involved in these things. And as for the dowry, Ziomo already has a car, so the dowry will be a few million yuan. We'll buy whatever the child wants. Actually, we don't have many customs here." Hearing Mu Changle's words, his father shook his head. "No, the bride price is too low. It should be at least a few thousand, right?" Dad glanced at Mom. Mom nodded calmly. "Yes, I don't even know how much money he has in his secret stash. Ningning, you'd better dig out all the money in your dad's secret stash." Buff. Mu Baining couldn't help but smile. She shook her head and said, "No need. We don't need a dowry when we get married. We're not short of money now." Mom and Dad, you can help us take care of the kids occasionally. No, 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 we still need to have the wedding. We need to have two weddings. Hearing her father's words, Omo turned her head away. At the same time, the father explained, "It's like this. I have quite a few acquaintances in Shinkai and Kyoto and many people in the company. My son's wedding is a big event, so I have to give my business partners a heads up, right?" Upon hearing his words, Mu Changle nodded repeatedly. "Yes, I can understand that. Then I'll take care of arranging the wedding in Shanghai, and you can arrange the one in Kyoto." Can? My father nodded, and after a series of discussions, the wedding date was finally set. 35 days later, of course, the bride price and other details were also finalized. The bride price was 18.88 million yuan, according to his father. Mu Changle was extremely unwilling, but he couldn't persuade Mu Chen otherwise. In the end, they had no choice but to compromise. Just then, Mu Xiaoxi looked at her father with longing eyes. She asked, "Dad, how much dowry will you give to Xiaoya's family when I get married?" That's right, Mu Xiaoxi was already with Xiaoyi at this time. Xiaoyi really got into Tsinghua and Peking universities, and chose the same major as her. After thinking it over carefully, Dad said, "I know his father. Why should I give him a dowry? I'll just extort a lot from him and make his family pay a dowry of 100 million. Chapter 263, You're Selling Your Daughter. Mu Xiaoxi. Dad, I don't feel like you're trying to get me to get married." Dad turned to look at her. I feel like you're selling your daughter." After dinner, Mu Omo carried Mu Yuning and went into the bedroom with Mu Baining. It's better for them to take care of the child themselves. Such a small baby needs to be fed every 2-3 hours. Now that Mu Baining has breast milk, there is no need to make formula for the child. In other words, they are destined to have a bad night's rest from now on. But every infant goes through this process, and it's necessary to do so. Looking at Mu Yuning, who was already fast asleep, Mu Omo took out her phone and snapped several pictures. Then he directly sent these photos to his roommate's group chat. Because of the birth of her child, Mu Omo took a few days off. "In a few days, I will go back to school to continue teaching. I'm a very busy person now." Soon Huang Wengsu appeared. "Holy crap, Brother Mo, the baby's born. Holy crap, what an adorable baby." Du Yang, "Holy crap, congratulations, Moji. How many days has the baby been born?" "Born the day before yesterday." He replied in the group chat, and soon after, Bai Yuntao also chimed in. "So cute, Brother Mo, I've thought about it carefully. I don't plan to get married. I want to wait for your daughter for 20 years and then marry her directly." Upon seeing the message from Bai Yuntao, Mu Omo's face darkened. This is just outrageous. This WeChat group was originally created by Mu Omo. Therefore, he could simply kick Bai Yuntao out. Without much thought, Mu Omo turned around and asked Bai Yuntao to leave. Huang Wengsu and Du Yang also noticed immediately that someone was missing from the group chat. Huang Wengsu, "Ha ha ha ha, holy crap, Brother Mo, you're ruthless. You kicked him out without saying a word." Du Yang, 6666. "All right, guys, I'll just post a quick photo. You guys keep working, it's getting late, go to sleep." Okay. He immediately turned off his phone and turned to look at Mu Baining. "Ningning, did you show Liu Weiwei any pictures of little Ningning?" Upon hearing Mu Mo's words, Mu Baining remembered that Liu Weiwei had been asking her questions like whether the baby had been born yesterday. Because she was feeling a bit weak at the time, Mu Baining didn't reply to her message. It's not too late to send her photos of Xiao Ningning now. I'll send it to her right away. It's been a long time since I've seen Liu Weiwei, and I miss her a lot. As she spoke, Mu Baining sent Liu Weiwei a photo of Xiao Ningning. Meanwhile, at Magic University, Liu Weiwei was processing her classmates' documents. Just then, her phone, which was on the table, rang. Liu Weiwei was slightly taken aback. When she saw that it was Mu Baining, she immediately felt a little annoyed. This Ningning took so long to reply to her message. Snort. She knew that Mu Baining should have already given birth by now. She'll be the baby's godmother from now on. She definitely wants to see what the baby looks like. Out of curiosity, Liu Weiwei opened the chat box. Then, many photos of babies appeared before her eyes. Upon seeing Xiao Ningning's photo, Liu Weiwei's face immediately showed an expression of envy. The baby is absolutely adorable. Her soft face, pink lips, and eyes closed were as she slept peacefully. Since they didn't know the baby's gender yet, Liu Weiwei asked Mu Baining, "Ningning, the baby is so cute, tilde, is it a boy or a girl?" Upon seeing Liu Weiwei's message, Mu Baining quickly replied, "It's a baby girl, a little princess tilde." Upon seeing this message, Liu Weiwei thought about it carefully, then suddenly remembered something and sent a message to Mu Baining. Then, if I have a baby boy in the future, let's arrange a marriage between the two of them. Ningning, I love your baby so much. Mu Baining was completely bewildered after seeing Liu Weiwei's message. Why is Liu Weiwei barking like a dog again? They even said something like, after she gives birth to a boy, we'll arrange a marriage between them. The main problem is that she doesn't even have a boyfriend right now. Dating, getting married, and then getting pregnant will take a long time. Thinking of this, Mu Baining couldn't help but smile. She mocked Liu Weiwei. Weiwei, don't forget you don't even have a boyfriend right now. Blanche. Liu Weiwei's face darkened when she saw her message. Yes, she doesn't even have a boyfriend right now. It's only been a little over a year, and Gu Ningning already has kids. That's just outrageous. To avoid being teased by Mu Baining, Liu Weiwei immediately changed the subject. Liu Weiwei's hands flew across the screen as she typed. Ningning, stop teasing me. Look, you and Momo's baby has already been born, shouldn't you get married? Upon seeing this message, Mu Baining replied with an MMM emoji. Yes, Momo and I are planning to get married in 35 days. Weiwei, as my best friend, shouldn't you give me a 1 million yuan wedding gift? The 1 million was just a joke by Mu Baining. Given Liu Weiwei's stinginess, she'd be lucky to give a few thousand. Okay, Ningning, I'll give you 1 million Vietnamese dong when the time comes. Upon seeing this message, Mu Baining's face turned somewhat grim. Shaw, 1 million Vietnamese dong is roughly equivalent to 100 RMB. Dog Vivi is really stingy. Seeing Mu Baining's expression, Mu Xiaomo couldn't help but ask, What's wrong, Ningning? What were you talking about with Liu Weiwei? You look so upset. Mu Baining pouted. He said that after she has a child, he wants to arrange a marriage between her child and our little Ningning. Hearing this, Mu Xiaomo was stunned. Goodness, his precious Ningning is only 2 days old, and he's already thinking about things 20 years from now. This is outrageous. Mu Baining continued. She just asked me when I'm getting married. After I told her, she said she'd give us 1 million Vietnamese dong as a wedding gift. 1 million Vietnamese dong. Is it about 300 yuan? Mu Baining nodded. At this moment, Mu Xiaomo continued. It's okay. Tell her that when she gets married, you will give her 1 million Iranian tamans as a wedding gift. Iranian taman. Mu Baining wasn't familiar with Iranian currency, so she asked, How much is 1 million Iranian tamans in Chinese yuan? Mu Xiaomo answered quite easily, about 170 yuan. Buff. Upon hearing this, Mu Baining chuckled. I never imagined that there could be such a worthless currency in the world. She said, okay, I'll tell Liu Weiwei right away. P.S. I'm taking tomorrow off. A friend is getting married and I'm going to be a groomsman. Hee hee. Chapter 264 Ningning, wake up. Let's go look at wedding dresses. Soon, Mu Baining told Liu Weiwei about the 1 million Iranian tamans she was going to give her. Liu Weiwei was utterly speechless. She replied, Why didn't you just say you'd give me 1 million Zimbabwean dollars? Mu Baining had never heard of this currency before. She asked, somewhat bewildered, Zimbabwean dollars? What are Zimbabwean dollars? Are they valuable? Seeing Mu Baining's innocent question, Liu Weiwei's face darkened. Surprisingly, this dog Ningning really didn't know what the Zimbabwean dollar was. That's so low class. Liu Weiwei replied helplessly. The Zimbabwean dollar is the least valuable currency in the world. 1 yuan can be exchanged for about 1 billion Zimbabwean dollars. Upon seeing Liu Weiwei's message, Mu Baining was overjoyed. Hee hee, when I give Liu Weiwei a wedding gift, I'll just make him a billionaire, wouldn't that be great? She replied, Weiwei, I understand. When you get married, I'll make sure you receive a share of the billion-dollar fortune, no, the trillion-dollar fortune, and transform you into a trillionaire. Liu Weiwei, I'm so damn grateful to you. Buff. At this moment, Mu Baining couldn't help but laugh out loud. Seeing this, Mu Xiaomo asked, What's wrong? Is Liu Weiwei especially happy after hearing this? Yes. Mu Baining could imagine that Liu Weiwei's expression at this moment must be even uglier than if she had swallowed a fly. Just then Xiao Ningning, who was fast asleep, suddenly woke up. She burst into tears. Mu Baining was also a first-time mother, but she knew why her child was crying. I was just hungry. A child's stomach is very small. They only drink about 10 milliliters of milk at a time, so it is digested very quickly. She quickly took Xiao Ningning out of the crib and then breastfed her. After drinking the milk, Xiao Ningning immediately stopped crying. Mu Xiaomo curiously leaned closer, looked at her face, and revealed a happy smile. The next day, Mu Ziomo and Mu Changle went to the police station again because of the case involving Black Scorpion. Now, Mu Ziomo and Mu Changle have been directly rated as 5-star criminal police officers and 5-star good citizens. This incident even caught the attention of the news, and reporters interviewed them. The matter wasn't kept secret for long, and Mu Baining soon found out. But she didn't say much. Although she was very worried, she knew there was not much she could do. The only thing we can do is get her father retired as soon as possible. Of course, Mu Changle accepted it readily, and a few days later, he directly submitted his resignation to the Criminal Investigation Brigade. He still has many years until retirement, but he has already paid enough into his social insurance and housing fund. Once he reaches retirement age, he can just sit back and wait to receive his money. With their wedding just over a month away, Mu Ziomo and Mu Baining have quite a few things to do. For example, we need to take wedding photos, choose a hotel, and then we need to finalize the best man and maid of honor arrangements soon. The best men will naturally be Mu Ziomo's college classmates. He has prepared 4 best men, Huang Wenxu, Bai Yuntao, and Du Yang. Since there was still one person missing, Mu Zioxi asked Zioi, who said he could come over later. As for the bridesmaids, it's just Liu Weiwei. Of course, one bridesmaid isn't enough, so Mu Baining asked some of her university classmates who were free. It's easy to find 3 of them. Since the wedding was to be held in Shanghai first, Mu Changle had already arranged a hotel here. Since it was his daughter's wedding, he arranged for a particularly stylish hotel. It is the Hilton, a 5-star hotel in Shanghai. 10 days later, Mu Ziomo used the system to slightly speed up Mu Baining's postpartum recovery, which would be beneficial for the 2 of them to take wedding photos. As for their wedding photos, they didn't plan to go anywhere else. They just wanted to take them in Shanghai. The main issue is that they didn't have enough time, and there are many good wedding dress shops in Shanghai where a simple photo shoot is sufficient. 7 o'clock in the morning, Mu Ziomo gently patted Mu Baining's cheek. "Ning Ning, wake up, let's go look at wedding dresses. P.S. I was a groomsman today, so I'm taking a day off. Updates will resume tomorrow." Chapter 265, A Small Sense of Ritual. Zumb. Upon hearing Mu Ziomo's voice, Mu Baining hummed in response and then lazily opened her eyes. She first turned her head to look at the crib next to her and then asked, "Where's Zio Ning Ning?" Little Ning Ning's mom is holding her and breastfeeding her, so you don't need to worry about it. Because Mu Ziomo took meticulous care of Mu Baining, she did not experience postpartum depression. Mu Ziomo smiled at her. "Then hurry up and get dressed, we'll leave soon. Try on the wedding dress today and then take the wedding photos as soon as possible." "Okay, Tilda." Mu Baining nodded and quickly got dressed. Mu Ziomo went into the bathroom and brushed her teeth and washed her face. A short while later, the 2 of them came out together. At this time, Mu Ziomo's parents had already gone back to work, and Mu Zioxi also went back after playing here for a few days because she had to study. At this moment, only Li Qingru and Mu Changle remained at home. Seeing the 2 children come out, Li Qingru said with a smile, "Momo, Ning Ning, you're awake. Come and have breakfast. Weren't you going to look at wedding dresses today?" Mu Baining nodded first, and with a playful smile, she asked Mu Ziomo, "Darling, what kind of wedding photos do you want to take?" "Let me think." Mu Ziomo thought carefully. "Actually, any style is fine. I can try some hanfu, and then there are Western suits and such. We'll see what we have then." "Good." Mother Li Qingru said, "You can take more photos. After all, you only get married once in a lifetime, right?" "Right." The 2 sat down at the dining table with smiles on their faces. Because Mu Baining was still in the postpartum recovery period, Li Qingru specially made a breakfast for her that would help with postpartum recovery. A small bowl of beef bone soup and some vegetable pancakes. Recently, Li Qingru has been preparing different breakfasts for Mu Changle every day, afraid that her precious daughter will get tired of them. Of course, Mu Baining never gets tired of the food. In fact, she eats even more after giving birth. As for weight, it has decreased compared to before pregnancy, perhaps due to childbirth. Mu Changle was holding Zio Ningning in his arms. The child was still young, and it was common for her to sleep for more than 10 hours a day. Now, Ningning's parents' primary task was to take care of her. Mu Changle even stopped smoking for Zio Ningning's sake. After finishing their meal, Mu Ziomo and Mu Baining got out of the car and went to a well-regarded local wedding photography studio. Mu Baining found this restaurant. The online reviews were pretty good. The price is a bit high, but of course, nobody considers the price at this point. After entering the bridal shop, A young woman with dyed blonde hair wearing a white shirt walked over. The two had arranged to meet in advance. Upon seeing Muzaya Omo, the young woman's eyes lit up and she said, "Hello, are you Mr. Muzaya Omo and Ms. Mu Baining?" Muzaya Omo and Mu Baining exchanged a glance and nodded. "Hello, hello, you two are such a perfect match," the young lady said sincerely, then introduced herself. "Hello, I am Lin Jia, the manager of this wedding dress shop. When are you planning to get married?" Nodding, Muzaya Omo continued, "There are still more than 20 days left. Congratulations." Lin Jia smiled. There were still more than 20 days until the wedding photos were taken. If she wanted to get the photos before the wedding, she would have to pay extra. "Gentlemen, let me show you the clothes in our store." Soon led by Lin Jia, they went inside. The shop is filled with a wide variety of clothes, including Chinese and Western styles, and even styles from the Republic of China era. If you let Muzaya Omo choose, she really doesn't know how to choose. The main thing is that he looks incredibly handsome in anything he wears, and everything fits him perfectly. There's nothing you can do about someone who's handsome. "Momo, what do you think of this Cheongsam?" After entering, Mu Baining looked around with great curiosity, just like a child. At this moment, her gaze fell upon a particularly gorgeous Cheongsam. The Cheongsam is red, studded with sparkling diamonds and decorated with many traditional Chinese patterns. Mu Baining fell in love with it at first sight. Upon seeing the Cheongsam, Muzaya Omo glanced at Mu Baining. Her eyes were full of anticipation. "Sure, this Cheongsam suits Ningning perfectly. If you like it, you can give it a try. By the way, how many outfits are you planning to shoot?" Faced with Lin Jia's question, Mu Baining thought for a moment and said, "Momo, how about we shoot 6 sets?" "Can. Okay, let's choose this Cheongsam first, and then we can go and look at other clothes." Soon, Muzaya Omo and Mu Baining were browsing through the huge clothing exhibition area again. Soon, they arrived in front of the pure white wedding dress. In Muzaya Omo's eyes, all wedding dresses actually look pretty much the same. However, each style has many differences. Upon seeing the wedding dress, Muzaya Omo froze on the spot. These wedding dresses are absolutely gorgeous. His mind had already begun to conjure up images of Mu Baining in her wedding dress. How beautiful and pure she would look. Mu Baining had already noticed Muzaya Omo's expression. She couldn't help but walk over to Muzaya Omo and said playfully, "What's wrong? Do you want to try on a wedding dress?" Muzaya Omo was stunned. What is Ningning saying? Seeing Muzaya Omo's expression, she covered her mouth and chuckled. "Which outfit have you taken a fancy to? I can reluctantly let you try it on Tilda." Reluctantly, his face darkened. "Try them all, and I can reluctantly give you an evaluation." Snort. Mu Baining snorted, and at that moment Lin Jia walked over. "Are you two planning to try on wedding dresses?" "Okay." Mu Baining stopped joking with him and took Muzaya Omo's hand. "Momo, hurry up and choose one, see which one looks better, Tilda." After observing for a while, Muzaya Omo felt that a style that touched the breasts was quite nice. "That one with the diamond-encrusted bodice, right?" Upon hearing Muzaya Omo's words, Mu Baining chuckled. "Actually, I also thought it looked good at first glance." "Then let's give it a try." Mu Baining hummed in agreement and turned her head to look at Lin Jia. She said, "Sister Liu, may I try on this wedding dress?" "Of course you can." Looking at Mu Baining's increased weight, she said, "Please sit down and wait for me for a moment. I'll go get your wedding dress. There will be a little ceremony when you come out later." "Thanks for your hard work." "Of course." Soon Lin Jia left. Muzaya Omo was taken aback. There's a little bit of ritual involved. Chapter 266, Proposal. About 10 minutes later, Lin Jia came over with the wedding dress that Mu Baining had chosen. "Miss Mu, you can come to the dressing room to change your clothes now. We can also have a makeup artist do your makeup for free." Lin Jia is a smart person. She knows that Mu Baining will definitely be able to buy it here today. As the manager, she personally received them, which showed that the two people in front of her were very wealthy. It's okay." Mu Baining nodded and said to Muzaya Omo, "Momo, I'll go in and change first, and I'll show you later." "Go, my dear." Muzaya Omo kissed her neck, and then Mu Baining left with great interest. While waiting, Muzaya Omo opened Douyin and started playing the recently popular game, Sheep and Sheep. But what's with this second level? To be honest, the first level is as simple as 1 + 1 = 2, but the second level is simply inhuman. Despite being a top student in science and engineering, I failed the second level several times. In the end, Muzaya Omo had no choice but to give up. The process of putting on a wedding dress is quite complicated, and with the need for makeup, Mu Omo had to wait quite a while. It took Mu Baining almost an hour to get dressed. However, she did not come out immediately. Lin Jia said there's also the element of ritual involved. Of course, this sense of ritual was something Mu Omo had discussed with her beforehand. The baby has been born, and the wedding is just around the corner. But the two of them are still missing a very important ceremony. That's right, it was a marriage proposal. Mu Omo went to doctor and bought a 1-carat diamond ring. The meaning of doctor is self-explanatory. I believe everyone knows it. At this moment, Mu Baining stood behind a thin white veil. Her figure was clearly visible through the white gauze, and the strapless cheongsam she wore looked particularly sexy. The skirt was exceptionally large, and under the lights and with the white tulle, it appeared particularly mysterious. Although Mu Omo didn't change his clothes, he was already dressed very handsomely today. Lin Jia asked him softly, "Mr. Mu, are you ready?" He nodded softly, took out the ring in his hand and shook it. "It's ready. Okay." As she spoke, Mu Omo went directly to the white veil and knelt down on one knee. In a moment, the white veil is lifted, Mu Baining will be able to see him. "Miss Mu, the white veil will be unfurled soon. This gentleman has a surprise for you, so please be prepared." As she finished speaking, the white veil slowly opened. At the same time, Mu Omo, kneeling on one knee, was displayed before her eyes. When she saw Mu Omo kneeling on one knee with a ring box in her hand, she was stunned at first, and then she covered her mouth in disbelief. Tears were even welling up in her eyes. She had imagined this scene countless times, and it finally came true today. At the same time, he was also very surprised to see Mu Baining in a wedding dress. That's amazing. After all, this was the first time I'd seen Mu Baining in a wedding dress. She was like a princess in a fairy tale, wearing a crown. The snow-white wedding dress draped over Ningning's slender body, and this fleeting moment of beauty seemed to be frozen in time. Now it was Mu Omo's turn to give a speech. He looked up into Mu Baining's eyes, took a deep breath, and said, "Ningning, we met on August 31st last year. I still can't forget that night and how proud you were." The arrogance he mentioned was when Mu Baining challenged him to a drinking contest. Of course, he wouldn't talk about drinking contests here. "I can't forget the way you targeted me on the first day of school when I was elected class monitor." Mu Baining was taken aback. On the first day of school, because she inexplicably slept with him, it was indeed a deliberate act against him. Ask him to print out his classmates' information, and then ask him to clean up or something. Although Mu Omo never came to clean the house at all. Mu Omo continued, "And the first cup of coffee you bought me. This is how Mu Baining got her period and then helped him do his laundry." It was around that time that their relationship began to blossom. At this moment, Mu Baining also remembered. Mu Omo helped her blow the little bugs out of her eyes and helped her with her period. These are all memories shared by two people. There's a lot more I won't go into, but in short, I'm very happy that we have this kind of fate that allowed us to meet at this time. I hope that in 10, 20, 30 years, or even longer, you will be happy with the decision you made today. I will still love you, pity you, protect you, and cherish you, until we are both old and gray. So, Ningning, will you marry me? At this moment, Mu Baining could no longer hold back the tears in her eyes. She recalled the bits and pieces of the past year or so. Although the time was short, the two of them had experienced so much together. For example, the day Mu Omo tackled her. She couldn't believe she would be like this now if it weren't for her. Perhaps from the moment the universe exploded and Earth was formed, this was destined to happen. She couldn't help but nod and said in a tearful voice, "Darling, I do. I'm so honored to be your wife. Whether we are poor or rich, I will hold your hand tightly and never let go. Don't worry, you won't be poor if you follow me." Mu Omo quickly took out the ring and put it on the ring finger of Mu Baining's left hand. Then the two of them hugged each other tightly. Lin Jia, who was standing nearby, and the other people in the shop were all moved to tears by this scene. It seems that a lot has really happened between Mu Omo and Mu Baining. Love is great. Then the shop's photographer took many photos of the two of them. Today was a special day for them, and the two of them shared this rare moment on their WeChat moments. Next, they continued to take photos of the clothes, and over the next few days, actively cooperated with the photographer to take wedding photos. The photo shoot took place in Shanghai. Due to time constraints, Mu Omo asked the photography studio to retouch the photos as soon as possible and then print them out. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, it's time for Mu Omo and Mu Baining to get married. On the morning before the wedding, Huang Wenxu, Bai Yuntao, and Du Yang all arrived at his home. After all, the task here today is to decorate the wedding room. Mu Omo bought a lot of balloons and ribbons to decorate the wedding room, and had her 3 sons clean up after them. Of course, Mu Xiroxy also came, because Omo's parents were quite busy, so they asked Mu Xiroxy to look after the child. Meanwhile, Mu Baining and her bridesmaids were also decorating their wedding room in their hometown. Chapter 267, The Principal Arrives. Hey guys, stop watching TV. Isn't it time to get busy? At 9 o'clock in the morning, many relatives and friends came to Mu Omo's house, including the best man, of course. Huang Wenxu, Du Yang, Bai Yuntao, and Xiaoi were lounging on the sofa, cracking sunflower seeds and watching TV. At that moment, the television was playing the newly released movie, Pacific Rim 3, Resurrection. Boys especially like watching these kinds of movies. After hearing Mu Omo's voice, Huang Wenxu shook his head first. I can work, but I want to drink Starbucks. Bai Yuntao, I don't drink Starbucks, I'll just drink Luckin coffee. Du Yang, how could you do this? You should at least let Brother Mo treat you to a meal at Heidilao before you start working. Hearing what her 3 older sons said, Mu Omo was speechless. What the hell? I asked you guys to help decorate the wedding room. What the hell are you babbling about? There's a Mixu ice cream shop downstairs. I can order takeout for you. As for the rest, we can talk about it after the wedding tomorrow. I'm quitting. Huang Wenxu immediately collapsed onto the sofa, becoming one with it. There are so many balloons to blow up today, and we haven't even decorated them with ribbons or streamers yet. We asked these few people to help, and they still have so many demands. As for Mu Xiroxy and Xiaoi, they completely disregarded Mu Omo and their 3 eldest sons. She pressed herself tightly against Xiaoi, gazing lovingly at the little baby in her arms. Fortunately, Xiao Ningning was quite well behaved today, and didn't show any shyness towards strangers. Of course, it's because Xiao Ningning is still young, and doesn't know many people yet. Depend on. Rolling her eyes, Mu Omo coughed twice. By the way, let me tell you, Ningning's bridesmaids are also beautiful, each one with fair skin, pretty faces, and long legs. If you behave well, I can ask Mu Baining to introduce them to you. What? They're all fair-skinned, beautiful, and have long legs. At this time, his 3 roommates were still single as always. Upon hearing Mu Omo's words, Huang Wenxu's expression immediately turned lewd. He asked, Brother Mo, do you have any photos? Let me see them. Of course there are. In fact, Mu Omo had never met the bridesmaids. Saying that all the bridesmaids were fair-skinned, beautiful, and had long legs was just a complete exaggeration. The goal was to get these 3 good sons to work as soon as possible. Let me see. Huang Wenxu disintegrated from the sofa and arrived next to Mu Omo in a flash. Mu Omo shook her head. I can't let you see it now. You just need to use the balloon machine to pop the balloons. Once you've finished both bags of balloons, I'll introduce you to the prettiest bridesmaid. Rage. Upon hearing Mu Omo's words, Huang Wenxu immediately revealed his true nature. Come on. Having dealt with Huang Wenxu, Mu Omo then turned her attention to Du Yang and Bai Yuntao. You too, don't you want girlfriends? You fooled Huang Wenxu, don't try to fool us. Bai Yuntao waved his hand. He wasn't a pervert like Huang Wenxu. Taozi, don't forget our agreement. You know what my company is like now. I'm a regional manager. Upon hearing this, Bai Yuntao's expression immediately turned ugly. Mu Omo is threatening him with the regional manager. I'm here to work anyway, so it doesn't matter. He asked, so what is my task? You and Du Yang just need to tidy up the streamers and ribbons and put them on the ceiling later. Thank you everyone for your hard work. Oh, Tilda. Bai Yuntao turned his gaze to Du Yang. Let's go, Du Yang. Stop dawdling and get to work. Du Yang rolled his eyes. I haven't even had breakfast since I got here. I'm sure I won't have the energy to work. Brother Mo is taking us to Heidilao for lunch. Let's get this done quickly. Oh. As a grown man, Du Yang didn't act like a sissy and quickly got to work. Seeing this, Xiaoi also came over to help. Decorating a room isn't actually a lot of work. If you're busy, it can be done in a few hours. In Shanghai, Mu Omo didn't know many people, so almost no one came to his house, which was good as it was very quiet. Relatives can only come at the wedding in Jiangbei. Everyone quickly got to work, with Mu Xiroxy holding the baby the whole time and Mu Omo joining in as well. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Knock. They're here. Mu Omo responded and quickly ran over. When he opened the door, he found his parents there, with someone behind them. Surprisingly, he recognized this person. Huh, Mom and Dad, you're here. Yes, Dad nodded, then introduced him to Muzaya Omo. Do you still remember your Uncle Kshuan? Muzaya Omo. Of course I remember Genda Akiro, Uncle Beast. Genda, ha ha ha, I didn't expect you to still remember me, Zaya Omo. Muzaya Omo nodded. Of course, after all, Uncle, your name is so unique. Xunqian Sheng. That's right, the personality that Muzaya Omo was talking about is Beast. He didn't know the origin of his name, but it was certainly very unique. Genda held back for a moment, then said, How time flies. Momo, you're married in the blink of an eye. It's really fast. That's pretty fast. Muzaya Omo nodded. Try to make your Tao Tao hurry up too. By the way, it's almost the next semester. I wonder if he's managed to pick up any female students yet. At that moment, he still clearly remembered that Xuan Taotao was chatting with 60 girls at the same time. Then there's the matter of being blacklisted by the school. Upon hearing this, Genda laughed heartily. Haha, don't worry, my son will get married after graduating from university, and he'll definitely invite you then. Okay, sure. He nodded and quickly brought Genda in. Zio Zioi Nukshuan Tianshang. He came over and called him uncle before continuing with his work. As time went on, the number of guests at our home increased. Most of them were my dad's colleagues or business partners. The room quickly became lively. Around noon, there was another knock on the door. Bai Yuntao went to open the door, and the moment he opened it, he was stunned. Because the person knocking on the door was actually Deng Shiki, the president of Shanghai University of Science and Technology, and his grandson, Deng Jiabin. The principal. Bai Yuntao looked completely bewildered. When Deng Shiki saw him, he couldn't help but smile. You are, classmate Bai Yuntao. Hearing Deng Shiki's words, Bai Yuntao was even more bewildered. Good heavens, I never expected that Principal Deng Shiki would actually remember his name. Chapter 268, you call your daughter Dad, and she sighs. Bai Yuntao asked incredulously, Principal, you know me. Of course. Deng Shiki patted Bai Yuntao on the shoulder, then continued, Weren't you the outstanding student last semester? Hey, hey. Upon hearing Deng Shiki's words, Bai Yuntao couldn't help but blush and scratch his head. That's right. Bai Yuntao performed well last semester, and even received one of the few outstanding student awards in the school. It was quite a sensation at the time, at the Magic University. Just then Deng Jiabin came over, looked him up and down, and asked, Grandpa, where's my master? The master that Deng Jiabin mentioned was naturally Muzaya Omo. Back then, it was Muzaya Omo who trained him, enabling him to successfully pass the high school entrance exam through physical education. By this time, he already had a university in mind. Bai Yuntao also knew who Deng Jiabin's master was, and he said, Your master is in the master bedroom, go find him quickly. Grandpa, it's been so long since I've seen my master, I miss him so much. Deng Jiabin and Deng Shiki entered the master bedroom together. At this time, Muzaya Omo and Zio Zioi were hanging lanterns in the middle of the master bedroom. The door opened, and the two of them unconsciously looked over. Muzaya Omo was taken aback when she saw that it was Deng Shiki. Goodness, why is even the president of Magic Science University here? Headmaster. Muzaya Omo immediately stopped what she was doing and jumped off a table. Master. At that moment, Deng Jiabin called out to him. The tall man, over 6 feet tall, called him Master, and Muzaya Omo was taken aback upon hearing the voice. Then he turned to look at him and said, Well, Zio Bin, you're here too. Muzaya Omo had trained Deng Jiabin for quite some time, and there was some affection between them. Deng Jiabin nodded heavily, then smiled and said, I'll definitely be there for Master's wedding. Upon hearing this, Muzaya Omo's father asked, Master, when did you get a disciple? Muzaya Omo smiled and said, Dad, this is a long story, and it happened a long time ago. This is Deng Jiabin, the grandson of Principal Deng Shiki. He is a sports student, and I trained him for a period of time. Oh, I see. Upon hearing his words, Mu Chen's father nodded and gave Muzaya Omo a look of considerable appreciation. The son did a really good job. Just then Deng Shiki spoke up. Zio Omo, you've been hiding this really well. Did you fall for Mu Baining right when school started? Upon hearing this, Muzaya Omo chuckled. He said, Principal, you didn't just find out recently, did you? Yes. Deng Shiki nodded. I'm quite busy at school, so I really didn't know. I didn't even know I was having a baby. Hee, looks like I hit it well. Yes, that's right. Deng Shiki nodded. At this moment, Muzaya Omo asked, Then how did you find out about this, Principal? Liu Weiwei told me. Muzaya Omo was speechless. Why is Liu Weiwei involved in everything? That's absolutely outrageous. However, Mu Omo was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, Deng Shiki should know about this. How can I pretend I don't know? He shook his head, not thinking much of it. Soon, everyone started chatting, and by then the wedding room was almost fully decorated. Deng Shiki left because he was usually quite busy. Deng Jiabin, on the other hand, stayed here. It was time to eat, so Mu Omo said, "Brothers, let's go eat first." Sure. By this time, Du Yang's stomach was rumbling loudly from hunger. After getting everyone's approval, Mu Omo said, "Dad, then I'll take them out to eat. You can take the uncles with you." "All right, go ahead, son." Dad nodded, and Mu Omo turned her gaze to the four groomsmen, as well as Mu Xiaoxi and Deng Jiabin. Let's go to Heidilao." Good heavens! Everyone was surprised to hear that Mu Omo was really going to take them to Heidilao. Mu Xiaoxi walked over and asked, "Brother, what about Zio Ningning?" "You can just hold him." At this time, the parents were even busier, so logically Mu Baining should have been the one to take care of Zio Ningning. But it's inconvenient for such a small baby to be anywhere. It's probably best if he, as the father, takes care of it. "Brother, you hold her for a bit while I go get her diapers, a thermos, a baby bottle, and formula." After receiving Zio Ningning, she immediately smiled. She reached out her little hand and grabbed Mu Omo's hair, then clenched her little fist and pulled hard. "Hiss, Tilda." Mu Omo hissed. "This little girl is too naughty." She actually grabbed her father's hair. Mu Omo had long, slightly parted hair, and when Zio Ningning grabbed it, it made her scalp tingle with pain. Seeing Mu Omo in pain, Zio Ningning immediately let out a childish laugh. "Ningning, call me daddy." At just over a month old, Mu Omo didn't expect him to call her dad. "Come on, say it after me, dad." "Dad." Tilda, little Ningning suddenly sighed. Mu Omo was completely bewildered. "What's going on?" "Buff." Huang Wengsu, standing nearby, was overjoyed. "Ha ha ha, this is hilarious. You call your daughter dad, and she just says, 'Oh my God,'" I'm dying of laughter. "Ha ha ha." Mu Omo rolled her eyes at him. "Little Ningning is being silly. What are you laughing at?" "Ha ha ha, I just want to laugh." Mu Omo went up and kicked Huang Wengsu. His face immediately fell down. At this moment, Mu Xiaoxi also returned. She took several diapers, a thermos, and a bag of formula and put them in her bag. Then he threw it directly to Xiaoi. A boyfriend is just someone to carry your bag." "Okay, Xiaoxi, are you ready? Let's go then. There's a Heidilao hot pot restaurant nearby, but I don't know if it's full." "Yeah, I've packed everything. I'm starving, let's go eat first." Mu Omo handed Mu Yuning to Mu Xiaoxi. "My younger sister especially loves babies, and Zio Ningning especially loves being held by Zio Zai." And so the group entered the elevator together, went downstairs, and arrived at the underground parking garage. His car could only seat 5 people. Ziooi and her sister sat in the back, while Deng Jiabin sat in the front passenger seat. Huang Wengsu, Du Yang, and Bai Yuntao got into Du Yang's Toyota Carrera. After discussing the destination, he left first. Just then, Mu Baining suddenly called him. Mu Omo quickly pressed the call button. On the phone, Ningning's voice came through. "Momo, how's the packing going on your end?" Chapter 269, The Wedding in Progress 1. "It's almost all set up." Mu Omo answered quite easily, then asked, "What about your end?" "I'm almost done here too." Mu Omo then asked, "So, you don't have any bridesmaids with you right now, do you?" Mu Baining didn't know why he asked this. At this moment, Mu Baining was particularly curious and asked, "Why are you asking this?" Well, could you tell me where I'm hiding the high heels tomorrow?" Actually, Mu Omo really wanted to exploit this bug. "I have no idea," Mu Baining said decisively. "To be honest, they haven't hidden their high heels yet. As for where it is hidden, that has not yet been determined." "Wife, don't you want me to take you away quickly?" Mu Baining on the other side suddenly went silent. Then a mocking laugh came from the other end of the phone, as if someone was making a scene. A moment later, Liu Weiwei's voice came through the phone. "Little Mo, taking our Ningning away won't be so easy. You'd better prepare plenty of red envelopes tomorrow. Don't worry, even if I prepared something, I won't give it to you. It's all for Ningning." Liu Weiwei. Upon hearing Mu Omo's words, Liu Weiwei's face darkened. "You stinky Momo, if you don't give me a red envelope tomorrow, I won't let you marry Ningning." He didn't say much anyway. From now on, he wouldn't be able to see Ningning. For now, let Mu Xiaoxi take care of Zio Ningning. Soon, Mu Omo led everyone to the Heidilao restaurant. Because there were many people, they ordered 2 tables. They had been busy all morning, and their stomachs were growling early on, so they soon started showing off their hot pot. After dinner, Muzaya Omo and the others returned home, and then briefly arranged the wedding proceedings for tomorrow. There wasn't much of a process. We just set off around 6 in the morning to pick up the bride, played some games, and after returning from picking her up, we held a ceremony in the neighborhood. Then change clothes and go to the hotel, where the ceremony will be held. The overall process is quite simple. Of course, this is also a Chinese wedding tradition. The next day, early in the morning at 5 o'clock. At this moment, the 4 groomsmen were already dressed in white shirts, trousers, and black leather shoes. Because Mu Ziomo chose a traditional Chinese wedding, the best man was still wearing a red robe over his clothes. At this moment, Mom and Dad came over and asked, "Son, are you almost done with the preparations? If possible, let's get ready to pick up the bride later." Dad, it's only a little past 5 o'clock. The photographer hasn't arrived yet. Let's wait a bit. Oh, right. He thought about it carefully and realized he was indeed getting anxious. It's only 5 o'clock now. It's really early to pick up the bride. The main reason is that his neighborhood isn't far from there, and weddings are supposed to avoid backtracking, so they'll take a longer route, but the journey will only take about 40 minutes. Mu Ziomo turned her gaze to Huang Wenxu. "Huang Wenxu, I've already checked the quality of the bridesmaids and they're all pretty good. You'll have to put in a lot of effort then." Don't worry. Huang Wenxu nodded emphatically. "I used hairspray today and I also prepared roses. When I have a rose in my mouth, I'm sure I can charm all 4 bridesmaids." Looking at Huang Wenxu's greasy appearance, he rolled his eyes. "Sai, I really don't know if he'll ever find a girlfriend." Bai Yuntao and Du Yang were also particularly looking forward to seeing the bridesmaids. Deng Jiabin and Mu Zioxi were also going, so Zio Ningning was left to be looked after by her parents. About half an hour later, the photographer arrived. "I still need to take some photos at home." Of course, Mu Ziomo had already arranged for a classmate to secretly follow the wedding procession in his car. Then, when they returned from the wedding, he would drive them back via a detour. There's nothing I can do. Divorces are getting too serious these days. He had already heard from Ziooi that Huang Wenxu, Bai Yuntao, and Du Yang had prepared tape and chains, and would tie him directly to a tree. They even prepared stinky tofu, eggs, soy sauce, and other things to throw at him. That's fucking terrifying. So he has to sneak away without anyone noticing. He made sure that Huang Wenxu and his 2 buddies couldn't find him. After the photo shoot, Mu Ziomo gave some red envelopes to the groomsmen. When the bride arrives later, red envelopes will inevitably be used. 10 red envelopes per person is enough. "Brothers, are you ready? We're about to set off." Soon Mu Ziomo, along with her 4 best men, Mu Zioxi, Deng Jiabin, and others, took the elevator downstairs. 8 wedding cars were already parked downstairs. The lead car was a red Rolls-Royce, and the cars behind it were all Bentleys. My dad hired the wedding car fleet. Upon arriving at the Rolls-Royce, Huang Wenxu immediately prepared to get in. Mu Ziomo quickly grabbed him. Hey, what are you doing? This isn't the car you got on." Seeing that Mu Ziomo had stopped him, Huang Wenxu immediately became a little unhappy. "As your best man, why can't I get in the lead car?" Du Yang, standing behind him, said, "You're so silly, Huang Wenxu. The best man should ride in the car behind." Oh. Huang Wenxu scratched his head somewhat awkwardly. "It's my first time being a groomsman. I have no experience, heh. Du Yang, it's okay. You'll find out next time you're my best man." "Okay," Huang Wenxu nodded, then realized something and shook his head. "No, I'm getting married before you, so you should be my best man." "Forget it, I'm getting married first." "I'll go first." Mu Ziomo. Seeing the 2 idiots, Mu Ziomo simply chose to ignore them. I got on the bus, and these 2 guys were also pulled into the car by Bai Yuntao and Zioi. Soon, the car began to move forward. During the journey, Mu Ziomo chatted directly with Mu Baining, and he also revealed some clues to him. For example, cars are not allowed to drive into the residential area. You have to give the security guard a cigarette first. There were also people blocking the entrance to the building. Even the elevators were blocked by people. Mu Ziomo was utterly speechless. Getting a wife is really difficult. It takes going through 81 tribulations. Of course, these are all minor issues, just a way to share in the joy. Every so often, the cannon convoy would fire cannons in front of it. The camera vehicle was also shuttling back and forth in front of and behind the convoy. There was some traffic congestion in Shanghai today. It took an hour and 10 minutes to get to Mu Baining's neighborhood. Of course, the journey wasn't that far. They took that long because they took a detour. Just as Mu Baining had said, the security guard closed the gate with a remote control before the car even arrived at the entrance of the residential area. Then he walked towards the Rolls-Royce. Seeing this, Huang Wengsu, who was in the back seat, quickly got out of the car, took out a box of cigarettes, and handed it to the security guard. The security guard then opened the door with a smile. He made a killing. Chapter 270, The Wedding in Progress 2. Seeing that Huang Wengsu gave the security guard a pack of cigarettes, Mu Omo didn't say anything more. The main problem is that these cigarettes didn't belong to Huang Wengsu. They were bought by his father. Forget giving the security guard a box. Huang Wengsu wouldn't even hesitate to give him a single pack. Hey. Huang Wengsu happily returned to his car. And at the same time, the security guard, after sitting down, opened the gate to the residential area. The car drove in, and Mu Omo got out of the car with a bouquet of flowers. The group of relatives and friends following behind said, "Ziomo, hurry up and go pick up the bride. Our way back is on the main road and there might be traffic." "Okay." Nodding, Mu Omo and her 4 groomsmen quickly arrived at the entrance of the building. There are people blocking the way inside right now. Mu Omo took out a few red envelopes from his hand, and just then an arm was put on his shoulder. "No need, Brother Mo, I can handle it." As he spoke, Huang Wengsu took a few steps back. That's right. He wanted to use his 200-pound physique to kick the door open with one kick. Seeing Huang Wengsu's posture, Mu Omo quickly waved her hands and shook her head. Hey, you can't do this, Huang Wengsu, are you stupid? There are people inside. If you kick someone like that, the person behind you might be sent flying. At best, they'll suffer a concussion. At worst, it could be fatal. Hiss tilde. Huang Wengsu thought of the scene of him being in jail and shook his head. In the end, they managed to get away with it by giving her a 6-yuan red envelope. Upon reaching the end of the corridor, Mu Omo was taken aback, because at that moment, what was written on the elevator was, "Elevator maintenance." Wow. Mu Omo's face darkened. This must be fake. I pressed the button several times, but there was no response. The floor shown above is also theta. It means malfunction. Huang Wengsu walked over. "No way, Brother Mo, are we supposed to climb the stairs up here? Otherwise what? Mu Baining's apartment isn't on a very tall floor, so climbing the stairs isn't a problem." Huang Wengsu then asked, "So, which floor does Ningning live on?" 12. Mu Omo glanced at his large belly. 12 floors isn't that high. You can use this as a way to lose weight. All right. Huang Wengsu said helplessly, and soon, Mu Omo and her friends and family had no choice but to start climbing the stairs. He was in good physical condition, and made it to the 12th floor in one go. At this moment, the main gate of Mu Baining's house was tightly closed. Du Yang, Bai Yuntao, and Huang Wengsu ran up, panting heavily. When they saw Mu Omo, they asked, "Brother Mo, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and go in to greet your bride. You think getting through the door is so easy." Mu Omo's face darkened. There was definitely someone blocking the way inside. He gently knocked on the door with his finger, and the voices of Mu Baining's relatives' children came from inside. "Who is this?" "It's me, Mu Omo, here to take Ningning home." "Want to pick up Ningning? It's easy, just give me plenty of red envelopes." "Huang Wengsu, how can I give you a red envelope if the door isn't even open? Hurry up and open the door." Just then the door opened a crack, and Huang Wengsu, who had already grasped the doorknob, pulled it sharply. With a snap, they pulled out a little girl who looked to be under 10 years old, who was clinging to the doorknob. Oops! Mu Omo quickly grabbed him, almost causing the little girl to fall. How can Huang Wengsu be so reckless? Mu Omo's face darkened. At this moment, the little girl looked extremely aggrieved and was even on the verge of crying. "I was just scared." Seeing this, Mu Omo rolled her eyes at Huang Wengsu again. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and apologize and give the red envelope to the little sister." Huang Wengsu was indeed a little embarrassed at this moment. He scratched his head and said, "I'm sorry, little sister, I didn't mean it. I'm very sorry." "It's nothing, tilde." Upon receiving the invitation from the Red and White Society, the little girl immediately transformed, a wide smile spreading across her face. There were quite a few onlookers watching the show in the room. Soon Mu Omo saw Mu Changle and Li Qingru. "Dad, Mom." Having gotten used to calling her that, Mu Omo would just say it as soon as she opened her mouth. "Okay, go quickly, Omo. Ningning is waiting for you in her bedroom." Mu Changle also wanted Mu Omo to take Ningning away as soon as possible. At this moment, Mu Omo and the groomsmen focused their attention on Mu Baning's bedroom door. I walked over slowly and knocked gently on the door. Liu Weiwei's voice came from inside. Who goes there? It's me, Mu Omo. Zyromo. Zyromo, how many red envelopes have you prepared today? Let's try stuffing a few under the door first. Hearing what was being said inside, Mu Omo said, they all brought big red envelopes, each containing 1,000 yuan. The door gap is too small. They can't possibly slip them in. Absolutely brilliant. Bai Yuntao gave her a thumbs up. This is utter nonsense. I don't believe you. Liu Weiwei clearly didn't believe him. Then open the red envelope first and slip 100 yuan through the crack in the door for me to see. That won't do. Mu Omo shook her head. Ningning has a custom that you can't open the red envelopes on the wedding day, otherwise it's bad luck, you know. Liu Weiwei was taken aback. Did Mu Baining have this custom? Never mind, I'll just open it anyway. The door was slowly opened a crack, and the groomsmen rushed forward and quickly pried the door open. Even Liu Weiwei was knocked to the ground by the force of the impact. At the same time, Mu Omo was delighted to see Mu Baining. She was sitting on the bed, wearing a red traditional Chinese wedding dress. The skirts were laid out around the bed, and apart from Liu Weiwei, the other 3 bridesmaids sat there very quietly. The other 3 bridesmaids were indeed very beautiful. Although they couldn't compare to Mu Baining, they were still top-notch beauties. Where are the red envelopes? The bridesmaids were completely greedy. Their first priority upon entering the room was to ask for red envelopes. Just then, Mu Omo took out several small red envelopes containing 6 yuan each from her pocket. Come on, one for each of you, one for each of you. Liu Weiwei's face darkened upon seeing this. I just said there was 500 yuan in each red envelope. Such a small red envelope. It doesn't even contain 500 yuan. Liu Weiwei then realized that she had been tricked. Her face darkened. Mu Omo, you're lying to me, aren't you? Yes, that's exactly what I was lying to you about. Liu Weiwei. All right, let's continue with the next steps. Bridesmaid A. If you want to marry our Ningning, you need your best man to play games with us. The first game is you say, I guess. Come on. Who wants to say it? I'll do it. Bai Yuntao picked out a bridesmaid and walked over directly. Upon seeing the words on the sign, he exclaimed, Buddha's palm? How do you describe Buddha's palm? P.S. I'm starving, I need food. I'm kneeling down. Chapter 271, The Wedding in Progress 3. Bridesmaid B. No, you can't just say the words out loud. At this moment, there was a burst of mocking laughter around them. You say, I guess. How come you said the word you saw? Bai Yuntao said, can't we say it? If we can't say it, then what's the point of saying it? Liu Weiwei, it's not that I don't want you to say it. It's that I don't want you to say the words you see and the characters on those words. Except for not being able to say the words in the poem, you can express yourself however you want. Hearing Liu Weiwei's words, Bai Yuntao finally understood the situation. Oh, I see. MMMs. The game moved into the next round, and at this point, Huang Wengsu saw the words prostrate himself in despair. This word wasn't easy to describe, so he flapped his limbs and said, watch my movements. As he spoke, he fell to the ground with a thud. Upon seeing this, Mu Omo understood what it meant. I prostrate myself in admiration. He said loudly, correct answer. The bridesmaid gave Mu Omo a thumbs up, and then the game continued. Actually, wedding games are all the same old thing, like stepping on balloons with a pressure point mat, or blowing up balloons with your mouth open. Anyway, after the game, Mu Baining had a lot of unflattering photos of Mu Omo. The game is over. Now it's time to find the high heels. It can be said that every game has such a segment. If they can't find high heels, they can't pick up the bride. Hurry up, guys, find the high heels. Oh. Huang Wengsu, Bai Yuntao, Du Yang, and Xiaoi quickly got to work. During a typical wedding procession, high heels are usually left in the bedroom. But this time, they hid the high heels throughout the entire house. Seeing that the groomsmen had started searching, Mu Omo's friends and family also began searching. Finding 2 pairs of high heels for a house of over 120 square meters is indeed a bit of a hassle. Mu Omo didn't go looking for her, but instead focused her attention on Mu Baining. Mu Baining's makeup was particularly beautiful. She blinked and then asked, why are you looking at me? Aren't you going to find your high heels? I feel your high heels are under your skirt. Mu Baining was taken aback, and her expression turned somewhat unpleasant. What nonsense are you talking about? At the same time, Mu Baining cursed Liu Weiwei several times in her heart. This dog, Vivi, really did tuck a high heel under her skirt. That's so stupid. How are people supposed to find this? Seeing Mu Baning's eyes, Mu Ziomo knew it was true. He said, "All right, Ning Ning, hurry up and take it out. There are so many people watching. Next time, don't listen to Liu Weiwei." Mu Baning was a little confused. How did he know that Liu Weiwei had hidden it? That's right, Mu Ziomo used the system. By this time, he had already learned that the other high heel was in an oven. No, why worry about how he knew? The main thing is that Mu Ziomo just said the word, next time. Could it be that this guy wants her to get married again? Momo, what do you mean by next time? There won't be a next time. Mu Baning's temper flared up immediately. Upon hearing this, Mu Ziomo gently rubbed her cheek. Have you forgotten? We're going to have another wedding in my hometown. The necessary procedures still need to be followed.